Hey, what's up? Welcome to Hammer Ray. We're live. And I just got a message from Tommy. Says he's in a meeting. He'll be here shortly. So we'll hang tight. I just wanted to get on here so everybody knew we were here and that nothing was not going to happen and that we're just going to do it. So let's get started. Tommy will pop in here in a short bit. I got plenty of things to talk to about with him, so it's going to be really, really cool. In the meantime, I got some things to talk to you all about and things to see if I can make you aware of a few things. First of all, like my camera being correct. So, first of all, I was just thinking about a band today. What's up, Blake? What's shaking, Mike? So, and Jeff is here as well. Don't know if you've ever heard of this band. This is a band that's been around for a decade or so. This is one of their later releases. This is actually, to this point, this is the latest. It's called Bulletproof. In 2018, my band opened up at Rock and Skull up in the Peoria area. And Tango Down was there again. We'd seen them the year before when we opened with another artist I was backing up that year. And then this time, though, Tango Down was there. We got to hang out. These guys are really solid players. Scott Riff does a lot of the stuff, of the writing for them. The lead singer has changed on this album to Chaz West. So you can check that out. Chaz West, Scott Miller, of course, who's Riff, and Axel Gessner, who is their bass player, and Keith Michaels on drums. So really, really solid stuff. This Bulletproof album is really good. I just ordered up a couple of more of their albums that I didn't have, the first couple of them. So I should be getting those real soon, and I cannot wait to hear them. The other two albums that I have by them have a different vocalist, but he's a great singer as well. But check out Tango Down. It's really, really worthwhile. Really good stuff. Bulletproof. Again, it's a funny story. I'm hoping to speak with John Kibble sometime down the line. There's the band right there. We got drums, lead vocals. There's Riff on guitars, and then bass right over here. So this was released on Brutal Planet as well as Kibble Records. And Kibble Records, that's somebody, John Kibble. I'm looking forward to talking with him and having a conversation out here with him sometime soon. Got to talk to him first, though. But that's how it goes. So anyway, of course, coming up soon, here's Wayward Sons. You've heard me talk about them quite often. And they've got their brand new album coming out, Even the Score. Check out the first release is out on YouTube. You can check out the song. It rocks out. These albums are brilliant. And they have Stuart Dilley doing the artwork again for the cover. So everything should be spot on once again. In the meantime, I just got this release. If you're into movies about music, this one is brilliant. It's called Wild Rose. Takes place mainly in two different places, mainly in Glasgow. But then it's all about Jessie Buckley's character wanting to be a country artist from Glasgow, Scotland. It's pretty cool. So, but I really, really enjoyed it. I checked it out from the library, fell in love with the movie, and I can't even get it on Blu-ray right now. I'm going to have to see if I can search it and see if I can find it. But DVD is good enough. It's awesome. It's great to have a copy of it. Check out Wild Rose. It's a really, really fun flick. And I've already mentioned this before on Go Game Go, but for those of you who may be joining for this side of Go Game Go for Hammer Away, this is the British Lions. And if you've heard me say it and you're sick of hearing me say it, that's too bad because it's really, really good. So this weekend, I'm going to be checking this out, and I'll probably have a reaction video for that. Now that we've got things up and going. So also some of the things we'll be covering on Hammer Away is some classic magazines. There's some of these articles in some of these magazines of bands that I never got into. But based on some of these articles and some of the things that they're saying about the music, I'm really eager to check it out again. Bands like Mortal Sin. They have record reviews in here, which are great. Look at this. Jeff Beck. How fantastic is that? With Terry Bozzio over here, who was with the Knack at one point on their Zoom album, and it was a brilliant show. Let's see. Sabat is one of the bands that's reviewed in here. But there's all kinds of really cool articles on these bands that there was just too many of them back in the hair metal days. It just wasn't happening. It wasn't, there was just too many. And that's just the way it goes. How about that? Could be my brother. Yeah. James Hetfield. So yeah, I mean, we'll check out everything in these. I mean, there's great fun letters, classic ads for albums, Voivod, the things that were huge at the time that a lot of people, like Blake, I know you'd be interested in a lot of these bands. Look at this, Billy Squier. The moment he messed up, I think, was when he did that Rock Me Tonight video. I don't know what you guys think about that, but scary. But it was just kind of a weird moment for him. I don't know why. Pink Telecaster. Telecasters are great, but, and whatever. I'm just saying, it was an odd move at that time. Thank you. Yes. I love this shirt. I had to get it. I'm a Steve Harris fan. I'm an Iron Maiden freak. Had a chance to... I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do that later. Not on this show either. It'll be another show. But, books, magazines like Guitar Magazine. I mean, come on. Look at this. Jake E. Lee, man. I mean, Jake E. Lee and Ozzy. I had a chance to see that. And I saw these two guys too. And Judas Priest. I'll save that too. It'll be on I'm going to have some short little dialogues that I'm going to do because I know those are cool. Having some cool little videos about some different memories and stuff like that. But tons of cool articles in these magazines about stuff you may not have even heard, never read. Either you're too young or you just didn't collect the magazines like the Dude I Am. Well, there you go. There's Billy Squier again doing a little tapping. And Lou Reed. How about that? Wasn't a huge Lou Reed fan, but I did love that New York album. And if I might tie in to a little Go Game Go too, when I got the TurboGrafx system, I got it with the CD player. And if you bought Lou Reed's album New York, it, like some of the other ones, had the CD graphics on it. So they had the digital graphics that would go across your screen, and you could see, all of these digital images put on the screen with the lyrics. It's pretty cool. It's kind of like Amazon is doing today, where you can get Amazon Music and all the lyrics run. It's pretty cool. I love it. Some of the other things I've got that we'll be checking out down the line here. There's this Judas Priest book. This came from their box set many years ago, and it was from their box set Metallurgy, and it's just got some great information in it. I don't know that I've never read this. I'm a Judas Priest freak. I'll tell you how that all started in another show. I'll have what we'll be calling a quick one, and I'll see if anybody knows where I got that name. You may remember me saying something about it, but check it out. I got it from somebody. You guys tell me if you can figure out where I got the name for my little short episodes called A Quick One. But yeah, a good quick history of some of these guys. Something you may not know about Judas Priest is one of their drummers. There was a single, and I'll cover this some more later in detail, But there was a single that came out years ago that I was really, really into when I was a kid. And it was by a band called Fancy. And little did I know that they covered, I mean, I knew this. Wild Thing was on one side, and then they had a title track to the band on the other. So they had Fancy and Wild Thing. But what I didn't understand at the time is that they had two albums out. And one side was sung by a female singer, and the other side was sung by a different female singer. Always thought they were the same. Not the same. But you're asking, why Judas Priest? Because this was really weird. I was looking at a picture of one of the Fancy albums, and it had the band on the cover. And I looked at one of the members, and I'm like, and we really didn't see Les Binks a lot, right? I mean, even with photos on the albums, we didn't. He wasn't around a long time. He was on 3 records, if I remember right, because he was on Stained Class, and then he was on Hellbent for Leather, and then he appeared on their live album Unleashed in the East. And but we didn't see a lot of photos of him. And but I look on this Fancy album, and I'm like, I can't believe it. I'm actually looking at a picture of Les Binks on the cover of an album with a song from which I had a single since I was, I don't know, just a little guy. So I flipped out. I couldn't believe it. Les Binks came from Fancy to be in Judas Priest. It was really cool. A little thing about Les Binks. I got to see if I can catch up with Les Binks. That would be cool. What do you think? Let's see. Anybody got any guesses? I got to take a look. Anybody got any guesses about where I got a quick one? Besides Pete, I think I already told him. Let's see. Okay, so Infamous. Here we go. Yeah. So anyway, there's so much stuff I have rolling around up here. I can't wait to tell you guys about it. In the background, you see some stuff. You see my Shinobi Warrior here. That's from when I was a little kid. I got my Rocky Horror Picture Show book there. One thing you can't see really, I'll turn this a little bit. This is a band right there. Band called Horselips. We're going to be talking about them. I was very fortunate to get a hold of that book. It's newer, and they have 2 DVD releases that I got that I guess I didn't realize when I ordered them that they were European releases. So they're European and I'm a poopin'. So I can't play them yet. I got to figure that out. If somebody's techie headed and knows how to, play them here, that would be awesome. So why Judas Priest? I don't know. So there's no guesses yet on why where I got a quick one. One more quarter. What's up? Good evening to you as well. I appreciate it. So there's again, lots of stuff to talk about. Some of the new books that I've gotten. I showed this the other day. Got the Rob Halford Confess. Speaking of Judas Priest, not only that, got KK Downing's book too. So Heavy Duty, which is a cool track based on what album? Anybody? Anyone? And of course, Thomas Dolby. And I've got a lot more music books and things. I thought I would pull some chapters and things from those. So there is a ton of stuff to go through on Hammer Away. Over here, that's my Kiss tapestry. I'm a big Kiss fan. And a big shout out to my friend Teresa. I can't get to it. Is right there. She got me this. That's an autographed Nikki Sixx in his band. I've spent a lot of time just loving music and talking music and interviewing some different people. Those stories are coming up. just meeting some different bands. So hopefully Tommy will be joining us real soon here. So I don't run out of things to talk about, but I can always pull something out here. And let me know some things that you guys would be interested in me talking about. Maybe there's somebody you want me to talk to. Soon we're going to be coming up with an interview. I showed you the Wayward Sons. We're going to be coming up with that and talking Wayward Sons with Toby Jepson. And we'll be talking about their brand new album, and the recording process. I'm real eager to talk to them about that. Blind Guardian. Yes, thank you. One more quarter. Yeah, throw me out some things. If you guys want to know about something, you want to know if I know something, just throw it out there. But in the meantime, are you guys ready? Here he comes.
Yo.
There's the man.
Hey.
What's up, brother?
How you doing?
I'm doing great, ladies and gentlemen. Tommy Tallarico.
Yo, is this live?
This is live. I just figured we had a time set. I just went and I gave everybody an intro to what I'm doing.
I apologize for being late, 20 minutes late. We were on a big meeting that ran over, so
not a problem.
But
now did you see it? Look at this. I used to be a Kiss fan. I still am, but I used to too. He said two.
I like that, John.
He said two. Yeah. So how's everything going today?
Good. I mean, yeah. I mean, I wish I could tell you some of the cool stuff that's happening.
That's okay. We'll find out soon enough.
So sometimes you have great days. Sometimes you have good days. Sometimes you have challenging days.
Yep.
Today was a great day. So
hey, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. I'm glad to be on the tail end of a great day.
That's right. Well, it's about to get better.
Well, exactly, dude. I'm telling you, oh my gosh, I haven't even started drinking yet. But it's, I've been really looking forward to this. Again, wishing Jeff could have been with us last night, taking care of some family stuff. So, but he was great enough to talk to me about this idea and thought it was a great addition to Go Game Go. So
cool.
So I'm really gonna slam down on some quick questions with you real quick.
Sure.
I've got a couple of surprises tonight too. Okay. But I wrote down some of these that I had written for a lightning round to get us started.
A lightning round with me takes 50 minutes though, right?
Well, that's why I thought I'd say that in the beginning. We can see where that gets us. So, okay, here you go. See if you can lightning round this with quick answers. Test yourself. It's a great day. You should be able to do it.
It's a great day. I should nail these.
I believe it because I got plenty of other questions. So this is the lightning round. Earliest music memory, like what sparked your interest in music?
It would have been Great Balls of Fire.
Really?
My mom's record player, Great Balls of Fire, and me trying to learn it on the piano when I was 3 years old. But I also need to say Elvis Presley, Jailhouse Rock as well, because those were the two songs. Those were the two first songs I learned how to play on the piano, and so I would listen to my mom's records by the piano and play those. So those were my earliest memories.
Right.
I mean, I have great memories when I was young. Sitting at the side of the stage at an Aerosmith concert in the Boston Gardens. When I was like 6 or 7 or whatever. So I remember that. So that kind of gets ingrained in your head really quick.
Right.
Is that a Thor bottle opener? My man.
That is a Thor bottle. I just had it for my birthday.
Wow.
How about
that's awesome. That's epic. I didn't even know that. And if you're going to have a bottle opener, that's the way to do it. And I don't drink alcohol, but I want one of those just for like root beer.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Root beers.
Right. Or any other beverage you choose to have cold. So tonight we're doing a little bit of this.
Oh, there you go. So there's that. And then I would say for orchestral music though, or another big music moment when I was 5 years old, and this got me to pick up guitar, I was born in 1968. And so The Godfather came out in 1972, and I'm a
Yeah.
huge, I mean, I come from a big Italian family, right? And
Right.
and when you're an Italian family, 100% Italian, and The Godfather out, you know, it was a big deal in our family, and I never
Yeah.
saw it as a kid because it was, obviously not a film for
Right.
kids, but
Right.
I would always remember my uncles and cousins, older cousins, and my dad. They'd always hum the theme, and then they would get I believe it must have been an album. I think he had the album and the 8-track because I remember listening to it in the car. He had my dad had a big old Cadillac with the 8-track player.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we heard it in the car, but we didn't have an 8-track player in the house, so he must have had the album as well. Anyway,
Yep.
and it was a mandolin. Of course, when
Yep.
you're that young, you don't know
Yep.
the difference between an Italian mandolin and a guitar. So I asked my mom for a guitar, and they gave me a little guitar, and so I learned everything I did in music was because of my parents. Like, you want to impress your parents, like, they like Jerry Lee and Elvis, so I'd dun 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 dun, and they'd all, oh my God, look at what he did, and then they'd bring the neighbors over. Look what Tommy learned. Dun 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 dun. You shake my nerves and you rattle my brain.
That's my boy.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's my boy.
And so you get that feeling when you're that young, like, because your parents are the most important thing, the only thing in your whole world. And to see them like laughing and being so impressed, and so that sparked me at an early age to keep going down that path. And then, of course, like you said, when you have Steven Tyler's your cousin, and to me, he was just cousin Steven. He wasn't, and then you see him and he's having so much fun. I'm like, well, okay, that's what I want to be when I grow up, because look he can do it. Why couldn't I? There was never a sense of, oh, that's an impossible dream. I never had that barrier that most people may have, like, oh, that's impossible. And so there's that. And then, so Godfather for guitar, but then for orchestral music in 1976, Rocky came out.
Right.
And the Bill Conti score. And again, if you're Italian and you're, 8 years old, and you see Rocky and you're an East Coast Italian, that's Lance. That is Brother Mike. That is, again, you can't just put it in words. It's a part of you.
Right.
Godfather, Rocky, Italians, immigrants. And again, these were my grandparents were still alive. So to them, who came from Italy, and they were to see an Italian boxer on screen, that Italian stallion, that meant a lot to them. It really did. And even though, the Godfather was considered, a violent movie that talked about, like, the criminal, stereotype of Italian, but look, it's not a stereotype. It's true. So I'm not going to be offended by, they're making Italians to be in the mafia. Well, yeah, because they are, like, it's not like I'm trying to erase Italian history. No, Italians were in the mafia. Not all Italians, not the majority of Italians, but certain Italians were, right? But that movie, though, people look at it as a gangster movie, but if you're an Italian American, you look at that as an Italian culture movie, because they're making the sauce and the way they talk, and Sonny's temper, and he goes like that. Like, that's something I saw all my uncles do at one point, so, and then going back to the old country and showing the marriage and the parents and the whole family following them on the first date, and that's how Godfather reads to me. Not like a mafia movie, it's an Italian family movie.
It's a culture, not.
Yeah. And then the last thing, and then Star Wars in 77. So Rocky 76, Star Wars 77, that got me into orchestral music. Then I heard Beethoven's Ninth the first time. boom, that ended it for me, right? Like, oh my God, this is like, I'm crying and I'm like 9 years old listening to classical music. Like, how many 9-year-olds are listening to Beethoven on their
Amen.
own, right?
Right. Right.
And then in 1978, I remember going over my best friend's house at the time. He lived down the street. And this is what really changed. And
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
his mom bought an album, and we had a record player downstairs, and he had a record player down in the basement, and he Tommy, you got to hear, we got to hear, we got to hear. Okay, what? Come on down, and we put that record on. An eruption. That's the man, right? I mean, I got him.
I had to have this handy. I was like, I gotta have it handy.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, fantastic. There's one for you and one for me.
I got, and that changed my life. And you know, I wanted to do that. I couldn't believe it in the melodies and the solos and the raw energy. And you know, I'm not one of these fans. I'm not one of these folks who are like, DLR was way better than Sammy and Sammy was this, is that. You know what? I love them both.
It's apples and oranges.
I love them both equally. And if I had to pick, and this will be controversial, I'm sure.
No,
but even
not with me.
If I had to pick, and you said you gotta pick one,
yeah,
I'd probably go with Sammy because the melodies and I'm a keyboard player and there was a lot more keyboard stuff and 5150 and Balance and for all national carnage, so many great stuff. So I mean, if somebody held a gun to my head, I mean, I love them both 50-50, but if you held a gun to my head, I'd say, okay, 50.001 in Sammy's favor. But, and probably because I saw them live more, because I was too young to see them when they were with David Lee Roth. I saw them with David Lee Roth later in like 2012 when they did the reunion thing. But when I was a teenager and when I was, you know, I saw Van Halen with Sammy and to experience it live, it leaves a mark on you.
Yeah.
And you notice how I didn't mention Gary Sharon. So there you go.
You know, Gary okay, wait a minute. But
the album sucked.
No, it did. He got.
I tried to love it. I'm like, Eddie's my boy. Like, there's got to be something redeeming on here.
Well, he got a raw deal. I don't think those songs. I don't think they were written. Let's put it this way. Gary
he didn't write the music. Gary.
He didn't write the music.
You can't blame him.
And I think there was too much heat to sound like Sammy.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know.
Because Gary, when you listen to all those Extreme records, he's brilliant.
I love him.
I'm like,
come on,
how can this not be good? And I'm like, God, that's not
Sharon were like epic, you know.
It's kind of like absolutely.
So and I would the only other thing I would say, other big musical influences on me, and again, it's because my parents listened to them.
Right.
To these folks. Was Fleetwood Mac and the Eagles were huge for me. And then after Eddie, and so Van Halen's my favorite band of all time, but then Journey, Boston, and Styx. So again, because I'm a keyboard guy, so I loved, Dennis DeYoung's Styx stuff. I loved, Jonathan Cain with Journey. The Police was great too. But then Boston, Tom Schultz on the organ. So, I was always more like, I was never into the hard speed metal. Like I didn't really get too much into like Iron Maiden and Crocus and stuff. It just wasn't, and I'd see your Eddie shirt, the other Eddie. And again, it's not that I didn't respect, but even like Metallica, I wasn't really into them until the Black Album.
Right.
because
That's
that's when they got
understandable.
more commercial and more melodic. So
Right.
I was more into the melodic. Again, when you're talking about Journey, Van
Yeah.
Halen, Styx, and Boston,
Right.
those are very more, I would say, commercial, uh, mainstream melodic rock as
Well,
opposed to the speed stuff. You know.
I'm definitely going to hook you up with some ideas to check out,
Cool.
because if there may be a what the hell's the word I want to use? There might be a string of music that you've not been hip to that's
Cool.
gone, by because they don't get any commercial airplay, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But it's beautifully keyboard driven
Huh.
metal with wonderful vocals over the top. So it's
Is it
melodic.
like Dream Theater or Queensryche kind of stuff, or
Well, it's a yes to the extent that it's prog,
mm.
but bands like Camelot with a K,
See, I
bands
never
like
heard of them.
Nightwish.
Never heard of them.
Yeah, Tuomo's is the keyboard player, and he orchestrates pretty much the music. Some of the earlier stuff was a little more guitar driven, but keyboards definitely, and orchestration definitely, as they've gone. It's gotten uh, so I don't know what's the word I want to use. A little more complex, so complex, and just in its writing, that they've
Right.
actually released the last few albums with the vocals and just as instrumental.
Hmm. Hmm.
So Tuomo's really does a crazy cool job with that stuff.
Cool. No, I need to check
Another
that out.
guy you need to know about is Arjen Anthony Lucassen,
Don't know that either.
Arjen, and then it's Anthony Lucassen.
Uh-huh.
He's a keyboardist, guitarist. So just like you, I mean, this guy is amazing, and some of the stuff that he does is brilliant. I mean, all of this stuff is really, really cool, but it's got a great range. And
Cool.
one album you should have is Star One, and it's called Space Metal, and it's all songs about his favorite science fiction movies
Huh.
that go on in space. So Outland and Enemy Mine, Star Wars, Star Trek 4, Alien, 2001: A Space Odyssey. Thank you, Jeff. That's his
There you
favorite
go.
movie. So anyway, those are some things. All right, let's get back to the lightning round.
Okay. So that light, it took us 20 minutes.
So far,
I
we're
told
doing
you.
good. We're doing great. We're doing great. First album,
That I owned.
yes.
Uh,
For whatever reason, my first album was Kiss Alive because just like the movie Rockstar with Mark Wahlberg, my brother didn't want it anymore and he gave it to me.
I had I don't remember. It's one of these three though.
Okay.
It's either it was either Fleetwood Mac Double Live
Okay. Cool.
or the Queen album with We Are the Champions
News of the World.
or Foreigner 4.
Foreigner 4.
So
Produced-
let's
Produced
do
by
Google search which one came out first. I don't whatever one came out first. That was the
wait, which one came out first of what?
of those three.
Of those three,
I
Foreigner
think
4,
Fleetwood Mac maybe. I don't know.
Fleetwood Mac, probably. Is that Tusk? Are you talking about Tusk?
No, they did a double
The
live.
double live album. Yeah.
Yeah, it was one. It's still one of my favorite albums.
Yeah.
Fleetwood Mac live.
I would say
1977.
yeah. So and then Foreigner 4 didn't come out until 1981.
Okay, so yeah, I think that I might have been correct then. Double Fleetwood Mac. It came out in 19. Oh wait, no, it was released in December of 1980.
1980. Okay.
Okay, so I was 12.
Uh-huh.
So that's wrong then because then it must have been Van Halen's first album then because that was 78. I believe.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah.
So it was Van Halen then.
Okay.
I thought Fleetwood Mac was earlier than Van Halen, the live album, but
Then did you buy any singles at all? Did you ever buy 45s?
I remember buying and I still have it. I remember buying Ozzy Osbourne's the Picture album. Did you
Yeah.
ever see that? But that was like a picture album. That was different. I don't remember ever buying singles.
Okay.
Yeah, no, because I mean I would always like tape cassette rip stuff off the radio, right?
Right.
That's what we all did back then.
That's what we did.
So yeah, so I never really I had albums, but I didn't really buy oh, I also had Pink Floyd. The
Dark
Prisoner.
Side or The
Yeah,
Wall.
Dark Side.
Dark Side.
Oh no, no, it was The Wall. It was The
Yeah,
Wall.
The Wall from 79.
Yeah. That's 79. So there you go. Yeah.
Are you a big Floyd fan?
I am. And I think that oh, not Roger Waters.
David Gilmour?
David Gilmour, thank you. I think that David Gilmour is one of the most there's three people who I think are the most underrated guitar players in the world, and I'll give them to you in this order.
Yeah, go for
Number
it.
3, David Gilmour.
Yeah, yeah.
Number 2, and this might sound weird because we might know him as a guitar player, but a lot of people don't. I think the number 2 most underrated guitar player of all time is Prince.
Uh-huh.
He is ungodly. Like this, he's on a different level. But people always think of Prince as singer, dancer, rock star,
right.
You know, weirdo extraordinaire, whatever.
Right.
But he never gets enough credit for his guitar playing. And he was a better guitar player than anything else, than a singer. And he was a great singer, than a songwriter. He's a great songwriter, but he was even better. And what I would ask people to do, if you've never heard it, go on YouTube and just search for it now and keep it on pause. Go look at, just put in Prince While My Guitar Gently Weeps.
Oh, wonderful. And
he did a live show. It was when George Harrison died.
Yeah.
They did a tribute show to to George Harrison. So you had Steve Winwood on keys. You had Jeff, the guy from
Jeff Lynne.
Jeff Lynne from like every band in the 70s. Jeff Lynne on vocals, Tom Petty on vocals and guitar, Joe Bonamassa. Bonamassa. And they had George Harrison's son on acoustic, and he looks exactly like George Harrison. It was a spitting image. It's scary.
Oh my God.
And Prince, and they go into the While My Guitar, and he goes into the solo, and it's one of the greatest guitar solos, and it's so effortless, and it's one of the greatest guitar solos ever played. And then also check out, just put in Prince Super Bowl. Yeah. And that is just Prince being Prince. There's this little documentary, actually. It's like an 8-minute thing.
Really?
Of the producers of the Super Bowl show, talking about Prince. And if everyone remembers, it was in Miami and it pissed down rain.
Wow.
And the funny story is they call up Prince and they're like all freaking out because Prince is in high heels. There's a slick surface. Right. He had the twins with him who had like 9-inch heels, dancing like crazy and whipping their hair around. And they're like, Prince, we have like really bad news. It's like gonna downpour right during your thing. And Prince goes, he goes, can you make it rain harder?
I thought you were going to say something about Purple Rain.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because it's purple rain and it's just raining down and there's purple lights. It's like, and the producer's like, of course Prince would say that. Like, he's like, I'm Prince. I ordered this. What do you mean? I spoke to God and ordered this. You're telling me it's a bad thing. And again, that's just solo and just the way his persona, like, well, that to me was the pinnacle of Prince's career.
Yeah.
But the number one
underrated guitar player,
most underrated good player ever of all time. You never see him on the lists.
Okay.
You never see him talked about as being an epic guitar player because he's a singer as well, but he's
Okay.
part of a group.
Okay.
To me,
Yeah.
Lindsey Buckingham.
Oh, dude.
Lindsey Buckingham doesn't even use a pick.
No.
I want you to go and listen to this song. Go listen to Fleetwood Mac, because I was talking about Fleetwood Mac Live from 1980. Now we know.
Yeah.
There's a song on there called I'm So Afraid.
Okay.
Go listen to I'm So Afraid live off the Fleetwood Mac double live album.
Yeah.
You listen to that guitar solo, and it's, again, one of the greatest recorded guitar solos in the history of the universe. Jimi Hendrix is good, but nothing. And the guy doesn't use a pick. Listen to a song like Landslide, which is also on that same album. And he's playing a 12-string, but it sounds like two guitars.
Yeah.
And dude isn't using a pick.
No.
Are you kidding me?
Check out any live footage that you can on Lindsey Buckingham and watch him play. And
have you ever seen him on a greatest guitar of all time? Like even in the top 50? Like never.
No.
And he's one of the greatest of all time.
No.
Never gets props.
I've been listening to him for decades, and one time I saw a live video, I'm like, wait a minute.
He's not using a pick.
Not using a pick. And
his finger technique, though, it's just
beautiful. It's brilliant.
It's otherworldly. You know?
Dude, he's an alien.
And acoustic and electric.
Yep.
Like we never really heard Eddie on an acoustic, Eddie Van Halen, too much, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a different style, it's a different technique. You can be an amazing classical player, or a Spanish flamenco player, and not and suck on electric, and vice versa.
Yep.
He's great at both, and that's really
even like a song like Big Love.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
He's just driving the song the whole time, and you're just no pick.
Yeah.
No pick. It's just crazy.
Anyway, so there you go.
Well, that's awesome. So I'm going to ask this one first. So you remember 8 tracks?
Of course, yeah.
And I'm gonna interject. Here's my one surprise I have for you tonight, because I know of your Eddie Van Halen love and respect, and I know how much we both were not happy about his passing.
Can I tell you just really quick to interrupt? But
yeah,
last week I was in my car driving to Intellivision.
Yeah,
it was 8:30 in the morning, and I'm just listening to, I put on like either classic rock or classic vinyl or whatever the Sirius XM. I got like 5 or 6 old classic rock stations.
Right.
And Love Walks In.
Oh, yeah.
Comes on the radio.
Yeah.
Again, that big piano.
Huge.
And just out of nowhere, I'm just driving, minding my own business. Song comes on, and I just start crying. I'm like instant. Like I didn't even have to think about it. It was just like I'm still not over it.
I hear you, man.
And when he first passed away, I listened to Van Halen for 5 days straight. I just that way, and then I let it go, and I didn't hear it until like last week, and then it all just came flowing back. It's
really amazing how it can affect certain people certain ways, and then there's some people that don't understand that. Well,
for me, there was 2 reasons why I'm sad about it. One, when he died, I felt like a part of me died because it represented my childhood, and
it represented your inspiration
and my inspiration. And the second thing, though, that bums me out is all of that talent will never create anything else ever again, and that saddens me. Like I want, if he lived another 30 years, we could have heard, 6 or 7 more albums from him. And now The good news is that, in his 5150 studio there, and I've seen, video of it. There's
Mhm.
literally walls and like literally thousands of hours of him recording music. Like Prince was the same way.
Right.
So I'm hoping, and his son Wolfie did
Mm.
say at some point when he's healed and when the time is right, and that might not be for 10 years from now, but
Right.
he would like to start to go through that music. And I'm always thinking to myself, like, wouldn't it be amazing that what if he went through that music and then Michael Anthony and Alex and Sammy or Dave
Mhm.
like recorded it, so and brought it to the world, like and Wolfie can be on bass and whatever too. I like, wouldn't that be incredible? So anyway,
Well,
sorry, but I interrupted you. You were going to say.
no. It's all good. Would you like to be a part of that process?
I mean, I give, but yeah, it's have to. I mean, none of those guys need the money, but so it's like, yeah, I'll bankroll it for you. It's like, no, they got Sammy Hagar has more. He made more money off of his tequila, his
Oh,
Cabo
yeah.
Wabo
Oh, yeah.
tequila than he did off of his
Yeah.
entire music career. He sold the company for, I think it was like
Fit-
$20 million or something. I heard he said that on Howard Stern. And Howard
Is that what he
Stern
said? Okay. I was thinking it was more than that. I got his book.
It might be more. I got
yeah.
that book, but I haven't read it yet. Red Rocker or something.
It's called Red. It's a good,
yeah.
it's a good read.
Yeah, I got it, but I haven't opened it yet.
He's since updated it. He did a
Oh.
big tour, and I met him again here. I've met him a couple of times. Got a picture back there. I was very fortunate to be working for St. Louis Music at the time, and he was a great endorser. And so then they were doing promotional photos. So my sister-in-law, who is a redhead, Carrie, she just loves Sammy, and she goes, her big line was, "Why are you always wearing the favorite pair of jean shorts when you got to get your ass signed?" So sure enough, he signed her on her ass on her jean shorts.
I was in the presence of Sammy twice.
Okay,
but I never met him because
really,
because I wanted to be like, I don't like bothering people,
Okay.
And like I wanted to be introduced to them. Hey, this is so. One of the times was I'm friends with Vince Neil, right?
Okay.
And so Vince was opening for Van Halen at the Pacific Amphitheater, which I ended up playing.
Was that
10 years later?
Was that for the Exposed album? I wonder.
I'm not sure. Okay.
Because he did that album with Steve Stevens, and it was brilliant.
Oh yeah, it was that one. Yeah.
That's
Steve Stevens was there too.
I bought that as like a cutout.
He's so great.
At some like a Best Buy
right
kind of place, and I was like in their bin. It was a different place. I think it was called Best. Like there was Best, and then there was Best Buy. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
The Buy More.
Yeah.
If there's any fans of the show,
right.
Chuck.
So I'm looking in this bin and I see Vince Neil exposed. I'm like, well, I'll pick it up. Oh shit, Steve Stevens. I'm like,
Stevens. That's
yeah, I'm in. And that album is brilliant, man.
So he was in town, and I met him. I met him at a hotel in Orange County. We had lunch by the pool, and he's, oh yeah, come to the show tonight. We're backstage passes and stuff, and I can tell you some wild Vince Neil stories if you'd like sometime. But
I would love.
They're not even R-rated, but the meaning they're more than R-rated.
They're
not that they're
triple
less. X. Not triple X, but definitely somewhere between R and X.
R and X.
But anyway, and in Las Vegas.
So you'd need to go to the pharmacy for it.
No, not me. No, I mean, I've never done. No, it wasn't nothing that.
No, not you. Not you.
No, it was more about girls.
Yeah.
That is more about that, but in Vegas. But anyway, so we're and I'm opening, and he's opening for Van Halen, and so he was going to introduce me. I'm like, dude, I'm such a big Eddie. Yeah, no, he goes, goes, dude, they're the coolest guys. He's like, I'll introduce you. I'm like, great, awesome, cool. And so we're on. So he's about to go on stage, like they weren't around. He's like, dude, I got to introduce you. I'm like, yes, introduce me. And but he was like he was literally walking to the stage. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that's funny. What he's like, yeah, they hired 2 guitar players. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Exactly. What does that tell you?
I'm running a little behind on those, and I just thought I'd put that up there.
That's Lance knows his stuff. And so, and then I'm sitting at the side of the stage and he's watching. And then of course, he gets off and high fives me. And then of course now Van Halen's, he's, coming down off the stage, and Van Halen's getting ready. So that wasn't the right time. And then of course Van Halen's on and this and that. And then he had left, like he had gotten his limo and took off by the time Van Halen was over. And I'm like, I should have pushed it, but I didn't want to be that guy. But while Vince was on stage, I kind of, snuck around the back and saw Sammy and his wife, and they were walking right at me, and I was, probably like this, because he nodded and smiled and winked or something. But and that was once. And then the second time we were in an airport, and I think we were in Phoenix, and I was in a Phoenix airport, and we were both on tour because he was there with his band, but it wasn't Chickenfoot or anything. It was like before he hooked up with Michael Anthony and all that.
Yeah, with Mona Nader and everybody else.
Yes. And
the cob, like the Wabaritas.
Yeah, that was it. The Wabaritas, exactly. Yeah. And in the airport, and I kick myself for this one, because this one I could have been legit because I was on tour, and hey, did you just play, or where are you going? But again, I didn't feel, and he was kind of with his boys, and they were talking. I don't feel comfortable going up to somebody and, hi, can I get a picture? And but anyway, so I came close, but I never met Eddie, because I always wanted to be introduced to him.
Well, I was going to say, you never met Eddie?
No, I'm good friends with Steve Vai.
Yeah.
Friends with Dwee, and they were both very close to Eddie. And we got up with Eddie. You got to go down to 5150. Like they would always say that.
Right.
Hang out. We'll all hang out.
Yeah.
And then for that show, again, Vince was going to introduce me, and then I want to bug, so, but yeah, it never happened, but that's okay.
Oh, yeah. I wish you would have. I wish you could have. I mean, Sammy's still,
picture.
There's still time for Sammy. So
yeah, for sure.
I mean,
we'll
see you, Mike.
Television. We'll have to do something with Sam. We'll get Chickenfoot to write a song for a game or something. We'll do something.
Well, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to get an interview with Sammy, and you'll be on the show with me.
There you go.
Are you okay with that?
That's awesome. You ever watch the? It's a great YouTube channel. Have you ever seen that Professor of Rock?
Yes.
He's the guy with the glasses and the hat. Yes. He is the most knowledgeable person I have ever heard. And he did a great interview with Sammy, and he's been doing a lot of Van Halen stuff lately.
Yeah.
I could listen to that man. And he's got kind of like a little bit of a lisp, which I think is like adorable.
Right.
But I could listen to him talk about rock music for hours. And I do when I'm like working out or on the can or something, but I'm watching him.
He kind of looks like he belongs in Bare Naked Ladies. If
totally.
He was in a band.
What's the band? The Lobster.
B-52s.
B-52s.
Yeah,
he could be in the B-52s.
Dude, well. I'm damn proud of you for bringing up Rock Lobster and not Love Shack.
No, I didn't go Love Shack.
Dude,
Love Shack's the go-to. I do. That's it. I go to the deep cuts.
Oh man, Rock Lobster. That's man. That was beautiful. Okay, so anyway, all of that to say,
Yes.
one of my big surprises tonight, I did
Oh
this
yeah, I
on
forgot about
stage.
that.
I did this on stage to get rid of a bunch of DVDs that I didn't need
Okay.
over the holidays at an open jam I was playing at the time.
Okay.
That I quit to be on Mike's show. I did not quit to be on Mike's
Okay.
show. I was going to quit anyway because they wanted to do something that I wasn't ready to do. So it wasn't sexual, but so anyway, I stepped out, and oddly enough, that left my Thursdays open to do Mike's show a couple weeks ago or last week. God,
Right. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Time goes so quickly.
Well, you
but
guys
what I
made
did-
our Amico reaction breakout cut.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I couldn't believe Jeff and I did a 2-hour, 10-minute reaction video,
There you go. See that?
and you weren't even there.
I wasn't there.
But you were there in spirit. But what I did was, in order to give these away, I did 6 degrees of Van Halen trivia.
Okay.
Now, what I did was I just whittled this down to Van Halen trivia.
Okay.
So what I wanted to ask you was,
can I take the quiz?
well, there's a baker's dozen that I was going to dole out through the show.
Okay.
So the first one that I was going to ask, because we mentioned vinyl and singles, and you mentioned 8-track earlier.
Right.
So I wanted to ask, what was the last Van Halen album to be released on 8-track?
It's got to be 1984.
That is incorrect.
Oh wow. Okay. Because my dad had it. That's how I know.
He had that on 8-track?
Wait. No. Maybe he did. Maybe it was cassette. Okay. So if it wasn't 1984,
Yeah.
could it? Oh, gosh. See, I guess we were on cassette by then, because I remember Diver Down, but I remember that being on that cassette. But I'll have to say Diver Down.
You're right.
Okay.
I bought it. I have it back there.
Oh wow.
I bought it on 8-track. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
I remember listening to me and my dad would listen to Jump in 1984.
Yeah.
Just constantly on replay. That's why, and it was in his. But he had another He bought another Cadillac. As Italians buy Cadillacs.
See, we had an 8-track player in my brother's Mustang.
Oh wow.
And
Cool.
we had a quadraphonic stereo at home with an 8-track player.
That helps you with like the Who and you know, they did
And
the
some Pink Floyd and some
And the Floyd, yeah.
Iron Butterfly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, to get back to the lightning round,
Mhm.
what was your first live show?
This is a funny story. Well, it was Aerosmith, but
Okay.
that everyone probably knew that.
I didn't want to assume that, but
Yeah, no, it was Aerosmith. But I have a funny story that was around that same time, but later. So, like I said, John Williams was my, when I heard Star Wars, I'm like, who's this John Williams guy? And back then, of course, we didn't have the internet, so I went down to the library, and I got, you look up John Williams, and
So you got
and
Jaws?
I got some magazine interview.
Oh, I got
magazine
you. Cool.
that he was in.
Cool.
And I read the article, and he said in the article, he mentioned something about Beethoven, that Beethoven is his biggest influence or something, or the way he thought of something was Beethoven.
Yeah,
I just remember
yeah.
hearing Beethoven. I'm like,
Yeah.
who's this Beethoven guy? And, and
Welcome
so
to Bill and Ted.
so I went to so I went up to the librarian, and I said, because you could take out albums out
Right.
as well. You could take records out at the library. And I said, do you have this Beethoven dude? And she said, well, yes, we do. And they blah, blah, blah. And then, they direct me over, and it was Beethoven's Ninth.
Wow.
And so again, I bring this home, and it floored me, right? So it was because of Star Wars that I got turned on to classical and Beethoven.
Wow.
But here's the thing I didn't know, because again, I'm 8 years old. So I'm listening to this Beethoven guy. Great. Well, then, like about a month later, in the Springfield Republican, that's the name of the newspaper. It was called the Springfield Republican. And And it had an ad in the back, all the bands that are coming to town, and the Springfield Civic Center and this and the Symphony Hall and all this.
Sure.
Well, it said that, you know, Springfield Symphony and Beethoven were going to be in town next month, you know, playing Beethoven. And I was like, and so I go running to I said, Mom, Beethoven's coming to Springfield. I had no idea the dude was dead. How would I know? How would I possibly know this? And so I'm like, Mom, Beethoven's coming to town. She's like, what the hell? What? I'm like, look, the Springfield Symphony is playing with Beethoven. And that's when she had to sit me down. She goes, son, no, Beethoven was in the late 1700s, early 1800s. He's been dead, you know, 150 years. What?
And you're like, damn, they resurrected him?
Yeah. And I'm like, well, what? So they're playing dead guy's music? Like he's not gonna what? But
he's alive.
But she took me to the show, and again, it was so emotional to me. And the crazy thing to go full circle is in 2000, I think it was 2017, after playing, you know, 500 shows around the world, Guinness World Record, this and that, blah, 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 playing to millions of people, tens of millions of people through PBS special and streaming and all this shit too.
Yeah.
I got invited by the Springfield Symphony. So, you know, after being on the road touring my show for 17 years, the prodigal son returns kind of thing.
Right.
And they had me everywhere. I was on billboards. I was on all of the TV shows stations growing up, Channel 40, Channel 22. They had me on. They paraded me throughout that.
Did you get a key to the city?
No, I didn't get that, but bastards. I'll get that next time after. After Intellivision comes out, they'll have to
put that in your contract.
That, and I never graduated college, so maybe I'll get one of those honorary degree things and feel smart.
I never learned to read.
I never learned to read music, and so and they had me on the front cover of the newspaper. I mean, it was. Oh, and the radio DJ that I listened to growing up.
Yeah.
Was still there, Rock 102, and he interviewed me live for like an hour. I mean, and I told him all the stories of listening to him growing up and how I used to call in. I said, you ever remember this little kid calling in, 12 years old? I'd call in like every day for a week at like 2:00 in the morning, requesting Come Sail Away by Styx. Do you remember that? He's like, I kind of, no, not really. I said, well, that was me anyway, just to let you know. And that was like 40 years ago, you know?
If you're in a drunken stupor someday and you're like, there was this kid and he used to call me, it drove me nuts. Right? That was me.
Yeah. And so that was just like the greatest. And the Springfield Symphony threw me after the show. They rented out the Marriott Ballroom, which was right the street, Marriott Hotel Bar, where all the biggest events happen in Springfield. That's where we had our prom. That's where you go to do, you know, everything was always there, right? They rented out the Marriott Ballroom, which was right across the street. And they said, Tommy, we're going to throw a big party. Invite whoever you want. No, all you have to do is show up.
Yeah.
And all of my friends who I grew up in grade school and high school and my family and it was just the greatest night of my life.
Wow.
One of them. And I've had a lot of great ones, but this was personal to me. And and what made it so personal is I'm sitting backstage and the show and the audience is starting to stir and the symphony's taking their seats and I got my guitar strapped on, ready to rock. And I just started bawling. I was just overcome with emotion, just thinking of my 8-year-old self being in that 10th row, looking up, listening to Beethoven with this. And there were people in the symphony
Yeah.
because I was telling this story in rehearsal.
Right.
There was people in the symphony who had been there since 1972 or whatever. So,
Wow.
75. So they would have played. And now here I am 40 years later playing with those people. And I just broke down and I just couldn't believe it. And it was so just emotional. And then I get out there and I just, we blow the roof. It was one of the best shows I ever performed. And I've performed a lot of great shows that I'm proud of. That one was better than anyone I remember. I was 3 feet off the ground. I was in that, when you get into that,
you get in the zone,
that space and that zone where it becomes otherworldly.
Yep.
That's how I felt the whole night. And then but when I finished the first song, Castlevania, and I was, telling everyone how emotional and everything it was, I actually started crying on stage.
Oh,
I got choked up
because
I said, right there, you see that little kid right there?
Yeah.
That was me 40 years ago, and I choked up and everybody started clapping because I was like, hold on a second.
Give me a minute.
They could tell I was getting emotional.
Discuss.
But anyway, that's
oh, dude, thank you. That's
such a great, it's the most important story to me.
Wow, thanks for sharing that. Because it'll happen. I know in my smaller world of music, playing out, that it'll happen. I get how that happens to you in a huge event like that.
Yeah.
And then all the way down to a small shotgun bar. I'm playing at a shotgun bar. It's a 3-piece. It's me on bass, my buddy on guitar, and my other buddy on cajon. Mm-hmm. And there's a dude at the bar, and I start singing a song. It was Way Beyond Empty by Zakk Wylde.
Oh, wow.
And I start thinking about my best friend, and it just wells up. I'm like, oh my God. I
was going to say, there's times when I've played,
mm-hmm.
and I can tell you some of the shows because they're the big ones. There's the Hollywood Bowl. There was the Bird's Nest in China, Beijing National Olympic Stadium, 750,000 people.
Wow.
There was Red Rocks in Colorado.
Oh, dude, I'd love to play there.
I mean, and what's cool is they give you a piece of, when you sell out Red Rocks, they put your name in the back. And so you're looking on the back, seeing like Frank Sinatra, the Beatles, U2, and then
Kiss.
And then, so you get your own plaque and they give you a piece of the rock of Red Rocks. And I have it, and they inscribe it to Tommy Tallarico, sold out Red Rocks on this date, whatever. Yeah. And I cherish it. But
wow.
But there's times when those shows happen,
mm-hmm.
and especially in Brazil and Chile, where the audiences are the loudest I've ever experienced in my life.
I've heard plenty of stories about that. Yeah.
And there's times when I'm playing and when I'm on stage that I have to stop and focus because the adrenaline rush is so high that I start to get dizzy and start to black out.
Wow.
That's how much energy is coming onto the stage when there's 40, 50, 100,000 people losing their minds, and their eyes are on you.
Yeah.
And you're playing it. And again, there's energy in this world, right?
Yeah.
Whether you believe in God or the universe or
it's
Buddhism, whatever your thing is.
Just say it's the Force.
Whether you're in the Force and the midi-chlorians, your midi-chlorian count is high.
I like to just stick with the Force because that's when it was about everybody, not just about
Can we make it about the Force, please?
Make it about everybody.
I gotta, midi-chlorians and Jar Jar. That's what that movie brought us.
But
anyway, but for folks who might be curious about it, you'd have to like, oh my God, I'm going to pass out. So you have to really focus and concentrate not to pass out because it's such a freaking rush. But
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to say to you though, because you were talking about smaller venues.
Yeah.
One of the big things for me, and people might not, on the opposite side of this, is that sometimes playing smaller places with 2,000 or 3,000 people, if the venue is laid out properly, and one of these venues I'll give you as an example is Massey Hall in Toronto. It's like I think a 2,800 seat venue.
Yeah.
But the state, like the crowd, it's a proscenium, but the balconies come up like I'm on stage and you can look and there's people right there.
Like you played the Fox when you played here.
Because it's tall.
Yeah.
So it's not like way far out. And it just feels like everybody's on top of you. And the smaller places are more exciting a lot of times too, because you can see everyone, you can feel everyone, whereas, and you can just look in people's eyes. Whereas when you're playing on stage to 100,000 people, the audience is this. It's like white noise, and it's all dark. You don't see anyone, because it's just and the lights are shining on you, so you can't really. But when you're in certain things, you can see people and you connect more in smaller venues sometimes. So
nice call. Yeah. Nice call. That's a good correlation because it's. I've only played some small places to small crowds. I belong in what you're talking about. I feel there's a place for me in that world, and I'm looking forward to hitting that someday.
Good.
I
never give up the dream.
But in the meantime, I'll take what I've got. I love, having that intimacy with the smaller crowds where I am now, and I'm just blessed to have that, having started at 36.
Hey, as long as you keep believing, my friend, if you believe it, you will achieve it.
Yeah, amen to that. Amen. Because I'm proof that it's never too late to start.
Yeah.
Starting at 36, whatever, lightning round continues.
All right. It's been an hour and a half. Let's go. Good question.
What was your favorite music when you were growing up? Were you just straight into rock? I mean,
every single thing I just mentioned to this point.
Cool.
Yeah. Van Halen, Aerosmith, Boston, Styx, Journey, Eagles, Fleetwood Mac, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, The Police, and then orchestral, John Williams, Bill Conti, the Rocky soundtrack. I spent a day with Bill Conti. That was cool, talking about the Rocky soundtrack.
And you know what?
At his house, we had lunch, Italian dinner.
Dude, while you're mentioning Bill Conti, I have to mention that today I was really amazed because, Jeff and I just did a Go Game Go show on sports movies not long ago. And I mentioned Victory with Stallone and Pele and Michael Caine. And we have that at my school on DVD. I flipped out. I was like,
great movie. I haven't seen that in a while. I gotta see that again.
And I flip it over and Bill Conti did that soundtrack.
Oh yeah. One of the Bill Conti scores that doesn't get a lot of play, but's really great is the one with James Bond, Remington Steele.
You mean Pierce Brosnan?
Pierce Brosnan. It was that movie. It was the remake of the Steve McQueen movie where he was the art thief.
Kelly
McGillis was in it. And they played a lot of they played Sinnerman in it. Oh, Sinnerman, where you gonna run to? But Bill Conti, what the hell's the name of that? Come on, chat, help us out.
You're sure? Yeah, it was Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking it's not Sean Connery.
No, it's Pierce Brosnan.
Should we look it up?
Thomas Crown Affair.
Thomas Crown, that's it. Yes. Thank you.
Thomas Crown Affair. Yep. And of course they had that great Nina Simone, the clapping from Sinnerman.
Yeah.
when he was doing it, was just so, from an audio and musical direction standpoint, it was unbelievable. And but Bill Conti did, the underscore to that, which was amazing.
Really?
And he never gets credit for that one too much.
I'm gonna have to check that out because I love I bought the.
It's a great
soundtrack. They put out I don't know, it's probably 10, 12 years old now, I suppose, maybe even older than that. And they put out that Rocky collection single CD where they had a whole bunch of stuff. From
I have it. It's right over there. It's great. It's a great CD. Yeah,
it's black and white cover
with the right rocks. They went old school.
Let's look at this. Dale Brown. I can't wait until this pandemic is over and VGL is on their way to Toronto again, so me and my kids can feel the music.
Yeah, I've sold out Massey Hall in Toronto about, I think, 5 or 6 times.
Dude.
But we also did a show. So Future Shop up in Canada, and Dale will know this, is like the Best Buy down here. And in fact, or maybe even more towards Walmart. But no, Canadian Tire is more like Walmart. And Best Buy actually ended up buying Future Shop, but Future Shop was huge. And Unchained for Born Distracted. Unchained is my Van Halen song to cover up. And when you get the phaser going.
Not to mention it's great at a hockey game.
Yeah. Well, it's great. I have me playing Unchained by myself at the Bird's Nest in on the speakers, and it's just me on stage. It's during the day during sound check. I put the video up on Facebook.
Oh, I'll be checking that out.
Yeah, I believe I did. Yeah, and so I should put that on my YouTube. I got so many videos I got to put on YouTube, but I got the time. But what was I talking about before Unchained?
We were talking about Bill Conti, and we were talking about Rocky soundtrack. We both had it. Thomas Crown.
Damn it!
Somebody will mention it.
I forgot. Yeah, I was right about to get to my point, and then I saw the Van Halen thing.
Sorry about that. Here's another thing too. One last lightning round then. Well, I don't know. Maybe that was. Oh no, there is. Are you ready?
Yes.
Anybody kind of in our realm of age, and I'm sure that other generations, past us have done it too, but I just, we know what we did.
Sorry, I just remembered. I don't want to forget it. We're talking about Future Shop.
Yes, go. Yes, Future Shop. Yes.
Future Shop was opening a store at downtown Toronto in the center. It's called Young Dundas Square.
Okay.
And there was a big 2-story massive Future Shop opening, and they hired me. They built a stage for the first time right in the square, and the stage is still there, but we were the first ones to ever play it. Sweet. And they built it, and they shut down the whole center of Toronto, and we performed a free show to open Future Shop to 12,000 people in Young Dundas Square. That was what I was talking about. Okay, sorry, getting back to it.
So do you remember what your opening tune was?
It's always Castlevania. And I remember, but for the encore, we did One Winged Angel, and I came out in a Toronto Maple Leafs shirt because I pander like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We were just talking about how one of my former students, he's chatted in quite often. It's and he he used to be all about the blues, but then it's my understanding that when they got rid of one of the players years ago, he's like, screw it. He was done with the blues at that point. But his new memory with the blues, of course, because he's into heavy metal like me, and he goes, do you remember seeing Ozzy when he got busted and he had that blues jersey on and he had his mugshots done in a blues jersey?
Oh, really?
Yes.
Was he arrested in St. Louis or something?
No. I think it was when he got busted for the Alamo.
Oh, okay. Peeing on the Alamo. Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah. I don't do that.
Don't do that. One guitar player though that I want to mention is that, again, like people who know him will put them at the top of their, like other guitar players will put them at the top of their list, but not a lot of people do. Is Gary Moore, because you mentioned the
Oh,
blues and that. So anyone listening to this right now, please, I get write down all these things I'm saying.
yeah.
I'm So Afraid by Lindsey Buckingham, Fleetwood Mac double live album. But go listen to Gary Moore live. It's on YouTube. Still Got the Blues for You. And it's a
Oh,
live recording.
yeah.
And you will see the greatest blues guitar player I've ever heard play the greatest guitar solo I've ever heard, blues guitar solo I've ever heard. Still
yeah.
Got the Blues for You. Gary's singing. It's just unbelievable.
He had a massive voice. I was more familiar with, I am still more familiar with his rock side and metal side when he did, but he was a brilliant writer in that he did a lot of great.
What was his band? What was the?
Well, he was in Thin Lizzy.
Thin Lizzy. That's it. Sorry. Yeah. That's what I was talking
Yeah,
about.
he was in and out of Thin Lizzy. And there's some great video footage of him out there.
Another guy who died too young.
Oh,
I mean, he was a heroin addict, unfortunately, or whatever.
Yeah.
He mixed pills and alcohol. So I forget how he died. It was drug related, unfortunately.
Phil Lynott was brilliant. I mean, just killer stuff. But Gary Moore did 2 albums back to back, which were brilliant pop, hard rock records. Hard rock, metalish, Corridors of Power, and Sugar. Corridors of Power and Future. What's the name of it? Victims of the Future.
Okay.
So those 2 albums are great for anybody who digs that, like Vinnie Vincent, when they put out the Vinnie Vincent Invasion, the first one. I don't care about all the stories, whatever.
Yeah.
He flipped out. He's an oddball to deal with. But that first Vinnie Vincent album was brilliant. With Robert Fleischman did the vocals on that, and it's got Dana Strum on bass, who played for Slaughter, and it's got Bob Rock on drums, and
the best.
It's a brilliant pop metal album. The guitars are over the frickin' top, whatever. It's still an amazing thing. But Victims of the Future and Quarters of Power were great melodic hard rock metal albums. And do you remember earlier on in his career, he had this song called Nuclear Attack?
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember he did 2 versions of it? He did one on his own, and then he also did one with Greg Lake from ELP.
No.
Yeah, Greg Lake's first solo record has a version of Nuclear Attack, which came out at almost exactly the same time as Quarters of Power, because that whole album of End of the World, when he starts with the guitar solo, brilliant song. But about the same exact time, Greg Lake and Quarters of Power, those 2 albums came out. But yes, please, thank you for mentioning Gary. You know, Joey Alves, I shouldn't tell this now. I should save this for a quick one, but I won't. But Joey Alves from Y&T told me about seeing Gary Moore. And he's like, dude, the guy had sustain like nobody else. He said, I could have gone out and gotten a hot dog and he'd still be holding the same note.
Yeah.
You know?
He was literally the greatest. I've never seen anyone better hold the note. And he does it and still got the blues. You can see him doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. And like you said, the vocals are awesome. He's up in that kind of range like Glenn Hughes.
Tommy, is there one song you play and feel deep with emotion? Do you mean play live or play?
I would say live.
Play live? I mean, I play Earthworm Jim live, and that one is, even though it's kind of like a funny, rockin' type of tune, but it's always surreal to me that like I'm playing Earthworm Jim, which is this crazy funny game that I wrote 25 years ago, and there's a symphony behind me, and there's thousands of people listening to this. Like, what the hell is going on right now? Like, this is my life. So, yeah.
I want to know, do you think that rivals like Kiss on their symphonic album?
Oh, Kiss Symphony was great.
Were you just like,
or no, Metallica was the best.
well, I could see that, but I'm saying, a lot of my metal, a lot of my favorite metal lends itself to orchestration.
Yeah.
But you're like, Kiss, Beth, okay, it was like that in the beginning. But Great Expectations, whatever. But
I've met Paul Stanley a couple of times.
and he's a cool dude.
Yeah, he's short. Like, I mean, not short. Like, I'm short, but
he's
but
average
he wasn't
height.
as tall. Like Gene Simmons.
Yeah.
I've met him backstage at an Aerosmith show, and Kiss opened for Aerosmith, and Gene Simmons actually spat blood on me. So that's because I was in the I was in the front row, and I got my jacket got hit with some fake blood, but yeah, they just look so tall on stage. But Paul was a little like, I was like, oh wow, when I met him in person, and he's very dear friends with one of our advisors in television, and the advisor, his name's Abby Conowitz. You can see him on our television. I never really talk about him much in television because he's not really in the industry, but he was the president of MTV in the 80s. Then it's like, Abby's great. He's got his phone, and I'm like, dude, what was it like in the 80s, MTV? Are you kidding me? Like, I'm like, you must have had some parties and stories. He goes, oh, you have no idea, kid. And he goes, here, and he's flipping through his iPhone, and he's like, here's a couple pictures for you. And it's like him and Michael Jackson in the Thriller outfit on set with the zombies in the back. I'm like, what? And then, and then the next picture, it's like, oh, there's Prince in the purple outfit on the Purple Rain set. Oh, that's cool. Next, oh, there's Kiss, and it's like, like the guy was and then he left MTV, and he started, because Madonna, he was close with Madonna, and he started Maverick Records with Madonna in the early 90s.
Wow.
Did that, and then he became the president of Disney Records, Hollywood Records, for like 12 years. And then he left that. And then me and him, the way I met him was about maybe 6 or 7 years ago, when he hired me to be the creative director to the Led Zeppelin Symphony Show.
Holy crap.
I get to work with Led Zeppelin music and everything. Are you kidding me? And so we did a big thing together with that. And then when I started in television, like, because he knows so much about marketing and go-to-market strategy and family market, because he was at Disney for so long. So he's given us great insights into the family stuff, and a great insight and stuff. So anyway, but I don't know. Oh, so I met. So when we were doing the first Led Zeppelin show, Paul Stanley was there, and again, I was the creative director on this thing. Yeah. So I was like, the cool guy. Me and Abby were, and it was Abby's show, so Abby was the coolest guy, but I was the second coolest guy in the room.
Yeah, I'll take the second hand on that one.
Yeah, right. And so like, Paul's coming up to, hey man, how you doing? And how did you do this? And how did you? Because we were using all this crazy technology to like, put stuff on the screen in real time and everything. Yeah. In fact, I used an Xbox. And I put it, we wrote this software where we had the Kinect facing the conductor, and it was a female conductor, Emer Noon, who's this Video Games Live. She does all my stuff. She did BT's Electronic Opus with me. And so what it was doing, it was tracking her, and we'd put a ghostly image of her up on the screens in between the visuals from Led Zeppelin. And so it looked like an angel. So you saw her doing it live, and then you saw this ghostly figure. And we also had this scrim in front of the band and the orchestra.
Yeah.
And so I would subtly put it up there as well. And when you hit the lighting, it was like there's this like unearthly goddess
presence
force,
there. Yeah.
like conducting the music. It was really cool. And I used an Xbox, so it's pretty funny.
Xbox will be thanking us soon. It'll be great. Here's a question for you real quick.
Longest tour I've ever done. Well, that's a tough question because the show was on the road for 19 years until COVID. But it was never like. But I think what you mean is long, show in a row.
Right.
And that would have been in China. We were gone for a month.
Wow.
So now keep in mind there's 30 days, right, in a month.
Yeah.
And we did 23 shows in China, in all different cities. I mean, we did 2 in Beijing and 2 in Shanghai, but everything else was one-offs. And we went, and that was brutal because when you're in China, you're doing planes, trains, and automobiles.
Right.
And that's legit. Little John.
Little John Candy and
John Candy
Steve
action.
Martin.
Steve Martin.
You know why that movie is rated R? Because of the ending when he says "fuck."
Oh, that's funny. I didn't know that.
I was like, "What's the deal with this movie?"
They lost the rating just because of one
Then
sentence.
he goes beep 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 at the end. You're like, "Oh, okay, I get it."
So that was probably the longest one at one time, but we did like 3 weeks all across Canada from one coast to the other, and that was on a bus.
Wow.
And we even went to like Victoria Island. So you had to like after Vancouver, we had to sleep because these are like sleeper buses, and you have to like wait for the ferry in the morning. So you sleep, and then the ferry so that you can get on the ferry and cross over. It's crazy. And it's let me tell you, there's a long stretch between Vancouver and Edmonton. That's a 17-hour trip of nothing. We saw a lot of caribou and like elk and moose, I think, but that's a long drive.
Well,
I'll tell you a crazy story though.
Yeah.
I'll tell you two crazy stories. We did 4 shows in 4 different countries in 4 days in South America. And South America is known for the rowdiest crowd, but also the crappiest conditions in production.
Right.
And really hard to deal with customs because they're all crooked. I don't want to say that out loud, but there's rumors. I'll never be able to go back to Peru again.
No, they'll have you back. They can make money.
So we did Peru, Chile, Argentina, and Brazil back to back to back to back. And so, but the hardest part was we're traveling with all our gear, and I got my $20,000, Taya guitar with me, $25,000.
Yeah.
And you go through customs, and they're like, and we had all our paperwork and stuff, but they don't care. So they're like, and I won't say what country it was.
Sure.
But one of the countries, they were like, because we had to pay off the customs people in cash. So what you learn is that you only put like a couple $100 cash in your pocket. You don't want to put $5,000 cash in your wallet or whatever, because they'll take it.
Right.
And so you put a couple $100. And so you learn that that's what you do. And so, because they say, oh, do you want your gear? Well, yeah. Well, you got to get to the gig right now. Yeah, we got to set up in like an hour. Okay, well, here's your choice. We're going to hold it for the rest of the day, or you're going to pay us $1,000 and we'll let you go. And that's how crooked these countries are. Well, this one country, they were holding my guitar. They're like, nah, we're going to keep it. And we're like, no, I need it, because they could tell it's expensive. And these guys are hardcore. They literally look up the model of the guitar on the internet. Shoot. And they're like, ooh, this is worth $25,000. We're keeping it. We're like, well, you can't keep my shit. They're like, tell me why not.
Right.
We're the authorities here.
Who's got the
gun? And they said, look, if you want it back, give us $5,000. That's the deal. And we're like, I don't have $5,000. And they're like, we take credit card.
Oh, oh,
So they even take their bribes on credit cards.
there's nothing like there's nothing
Anyway,
like
make a long story
convenient
short, we
extortion.
negotiated.
Ah,
We negotiated it down to like $1,500, and I gave them like 100 T-shirts and so that they could sell on the black market. And I mean, it's brutal. But so it's brutal to do one of those shows, but to do 4 countries, 4 customs, back to back in 4 days, no sleep. That was a crazy one as well.
that's rock and roll, dude.
Rock and roll.
That's
Oh, and then the other story I wanted to say is, and you can look on our tour dates page, because if you go to videogameslive.com and look at tour dates, we have every single tour date we've ever done.
beautiful.
There. 550 shows, 20 years
Beautiful.
is there. And you'll see this one run, and I don't know exactly what it is, but it was something like this. We started in fact, I should go. I should just, because it'll be funnier when it's 100% true instead of me guessing. But let me see if I go to tour dates.
I'll throw a couple of these up here while you're looking.
Okay.
So Shondell says, I hear some say the 80s and 90s are overrated decades that didn't like that. Wait a minute. I hear some say that the 80s and 90s are overrated.
No way.
Decade that
Disagree.
didn't like those decade, and some people are gonna love 80s
Maybe
and 90s.
the 90s, maybe, but not the 80s.
Yeah, that 90s were overrated.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, and here's my thing, and this is again my opinion, and people will think it doesn't mean shit, and that's true. It doesn't mean shit, because if you feel a different way, that's how you feel, and that's good. Look at me and Papa Pete. We go back and forth about Star Wars all the time, especially the sex tape, Rise of Skywalker. So the thing about it is that the 80s were brilliant. The 90s, I didn't grow up through those. Okay, so people who are growing up through that can dig it more, and they get it, and they can understand it more. For me, the 80s, here's my theory. The 80s were so... I know it was a lot of pop, and I know there was a lot of hair metal, but people could sing. There were some amazing vocalists and singers.
And people could play a guitar solo.
And guitar solos. And the 90s came along, and all of a sudden, nobody can sing. They are just, there's no guitar solos anymore.
Too much technology.
And you're like, okay, I get it. You got tired of the 80s because you can't sing it. And now you're okay with people who mumble and can't sing on key. I get it. Because now you sound really good. Especially in the shower when you're singing Smells Like Teen Spirit. There's a place for these songs. And there's certain songs, there's great bands out of the 90s. There were some great bands that appeared in the 90s. I get it, and I love those. But some of that stuff was just shit, in my opinion.
There was a lot of
so that's my take.
I'm looking
There'll
for
be
this
more
thing. There's so many shows. I'm scrolling through here, and I'm not. But where the crap?
I'm just not happy that I've not seen one of your shows yet.
Yeah, we'll be back.
Yeah, and I can't wait. That's actually one of my questions. You want to hear that question while you're looking?
Sure.
That's one of my questions. Not my trivia questions, just my regular questions. I just want to read it straight from the question because looking forward to having Go Game Go at a show. That's my question.
Oh, what?
Looking forward to having Go Game Go at a show.
Yes, I guess. Yes. How do I answer that? No.
The only way you can answer it. Hell yes. And by the way, I'm drinking my Megadeth beer tonight, Et Tout Le Monde, which will be played at my funeral. It's a great song. Great song. This would be a great time for a Van Halen trivia. Here's one for you. Van Halen recorded the Kinks' You Really Got Me for their debut album.
Correct.
What other Kinks song did they cover and for what album?
God, I should know this. It was on Diver Down, right?
You are on track there, buddy. Opening track, I do believe.
It was
It's a long name.
well, it's not Big Bad Willie Sweet.
No.
No.
I think it's the first song on the record.
Oh God.
And Retro Bro says Cops in Tijuana do the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, I should know that. I don't want to cheat. I mean,
I don't mind telling you. It's not a big deal.
What is it?
Where have all the good times gone?
Ah, damn it. Where have all the good times?
I go through the same thing, bro. I got all the information right here.
I got a crappy memory, I'll be honest.
In the moment like this, it's like a game show. We all look at people and go, "You idiot! You know what the answer is."
Okay, here's the thing. I found it. This is what I wanted to share with you.
Good.
I'm going to tell you the shows that were this was the run of shows that we did.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you the dates of them too. So so this was in 2015. You guys ready for this? Okay. July 24th, 2015. We played Melbourne, Australia.
Wow.
That's halfway around the world, right?
Exactly.
A few days later, July 30th, we played Sydney, Australia. July 31st, a day later, we played Shanghai, China. August 1st, a day later, we played Amarillo, Texas.
Oh, God.
August 2nd, the next day, we played Cedar Park, Texas. August 3rd, we played Seattle, Washington, the Key Arena, 30,000 people. August 5th, we played Red Rocks Amphitheater. August 7th, we played Cologne, Germany.
Good Lord, from Colorado to Germany?
Dude, wait, it's going. August 8th,
it gets
we played
better.
Cologne. August 9th, we played Cologne. And then August 12th, Beijing, China.
Holy cats.
August 13th and 14th, Beijing, China. 16th, Shanghai, China. 20th, Shenzhen. And then that was the run. So again, to back that up, because you said the longest tour, but this was the most grueling. So check it out again from July. I'm gonna mention the countries. Right. From July. So you got Australia, then to China, then to Texas, then to Seattle, Washington, then to Colorado, then to Germany, and then to China, and then back home to the U.S. And then 2 weeks later, we played Brazil, and then from Brazil, we went to Taiwan, and then Hong Kong, and then to Germany again within a span of a week. And then Newark, New Jersey, and Toledo, Ohio, Mexico City. I mean, if you look up at the tour, go to videogameslive.com. You'll get a kick out of it. It's insanity. But look at us in 2015. It was hilarious.
Well, I'm definitely going to be. I know I definitely have to get a hold of this stuff. I have got to get a hold of the music. I got to get a hold of the.
Go check it out on Spotify if you have it, or just buy it off Amazon or whatever.
I was going to say, because the music is available and so are the videos, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I might even pop over to that and just order it while we're talking.
There you
go. I think we need. I need to ask you this question.
Okay.
Eddie Van Halen joined forces with what other guitar legend to record Starfleet Project?
It's funny because I just learned about this after, because there's all these articles that came out after his death,
Yeah.
and they said, here's 20 Van Halen projects that you never knew he played on. Uh, Beat It was on there, but most of us know Beat It.
Right.
But there was like all this like crazy stuff that I had no idea. And it was
Yeah.
cool because the article had the music in it too. And you're like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
there's Eddie.
And it was, let me tell you this, it was released Halloween of 1983, so soon, right before 1984 came out.
Yeah.
And it was recorded at the record plant.
I remember reading it, but I don't, because I just learned about it like a month ago, but I don't, what is it?
Brian May.
Oh yeah.
Brian May and Friends,
That's right.
Starfleet Project.
You're right. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. That's
Yeah.
a good one.
Here's one more before I move back into a question for you. When preparing to replace David Lee Roth, Van Halen considered.
Well, that was the woman who Patty Smythe. Who, that was the other thing that was on. So that Eddie played on a Patty Smythe record.
And what was her band? That's my question.
What the hell was her band?
They had a hit. They had a hit as the band name, and then they had a hit as the band name featuring Patty Smythe. And who did she marry?
She married her guitar player.
No.
Right? Didn't she?
No. She's married to John McEnroe.
John McEnroe. That's right. What was her band name? The something, wasn't it?
It's the name of a Queen song from the album The Miracle called Scandal.
Oh, damn it. Scandal, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Totally.
So that was interesting. You say that Eddie actually did something with her.
Yeah. She called him up one time and said, "Hey, come and play on my album," and he busted out some guitar stuff for her.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm going to add one more question then.
Hit it.
Who was it? This is one of my favorite questions because this was really cool to hear about this. Who called Eddie Van Halen 3 times regarding his playing on Beat It, only to receive a cursing and disconnect each time as a fraud?
Well, I guess the easy answer would be Michael Jackson, but it was the producer.
Yes.
God, I suck with We Are the
It's
World.
Okay. It's okay. You got it right. It's Quincy Jones.
Quincy Jones. Yeah.
There's a great updated release, remastered release of Thriller that came out, and at the end, it's got these brilliant interviews.
Oh, really?
It's got multiple interviews with Quincy Jones. He goes, I don't even want to do the impersonation of it. You just need to hear it. He's just talking about how he's calling Eddie and he doesn't believe it's him.
Yeah.
And he hangs up and he's cussing at him and hangs up.
It's great. It's a great story.
He says, I had to call him 3 times. And then finally I had to get a hold of somebody and say, could you tell Eddie I'm trying to get a hold of him about playing on this song?
Yeah.
But it's even got it's got extra footage of Vincent Price doing the piece from Thriller.
Oh, wow.
And with the extra stanza, the extra verse that wasn't left in.
Oh, cool. I definitely need to check that out.
Yeah, he had a little throwaway line in there too, but it's really, really, really cool. So anyway, let's get back to you. I never did get around to this lightning question. What bands did you write on were these some of the same bands that you've already mentioned? Just say yes or no. That you wrote on your notebooks in school.
Yeah, everyone I mentioned. Yeah,
exactly.
Drawing the Boston logo was always fun.
Oh yeah,
and I drew the VH with the stripes 1,000 times, and even Eddie's guitar with crayon. That was probably the most, was because that album art from Boston and Journey too, the Scarab and Journey.
Yeah.
Those were the 3 big ones: Boston, Van Halen, and Journey. Great album covers.
And you've already answered one of the questions about when you first heard Eddie Van Halen. Now, just how did you've already mentioned this too? So this is a little addition. How did your family association with Steven Tyler factor into your life?
Kind of what I had mentioned earlier, which is, and I tell him this a lot. I've told him this a lot over the years, is that the greatest thing he ever gave to me was just like being himself, because there's two things he's given to me. The first thing was, again, like I said, as a young kid watching him, I never thought that, performing on stage to tens of thousands of people was difficult. Mm-hmm. And so that was the one thing that I always say to him, because, he never helped me with my career. He never, right. I came out to California. I was homeless. He didn't even know. In fact, it's funny. He got mad at me because I didn't ask for his help.
Oh,
like, yeah,
really?
But he respects me 1,000 times more. He's like, yeah. Man, and he still gives me crap for that. He goes, man, you never once called me. You never once, now you're this big, video game music hotshot, and you never called me for help. Not a single time. I'm like, I didn't want to bother you. I wanted to do it on my own. He goes, no, come here, man. And he's just the coolest guy in the world. And here's the other thing. And I want to tell this, I want to tell you this Steven Tyler story so that it's etched forever on video here, for many years to come, many decades to come.
And for all of our millions of viewers.
For all of our millions of viewers. And, so this is who Steven Tyler is. First of all, Steven Tyler is a guy who wakes up every day and appreciates that he's still a rock star, like that he's a rock star. Like I've met people, they're like, oh, I hate fame and blah, blah, blah. This sucks. And it's like, Steven, even though he's done it 50 years and he's the highest of the, echelon of rock stardom, he still loves it. He appreciates people. He appreciates being famous, right? Like no one I've ever seen. But here's the best part. I've been to, 40 Aerosmith shows, and I usually hang out with them. We're usually by ourselves, or maybe there's a makeup person or whatever.
Sure.
And then there's, his handler will come in and say, hey, we got to get you the meet and greet. And they do the meet and greets before the show. And it's usually like people who won local radio contests or,
right.
Or, the fan club members or something special. And you walk in these rooms and they're, smaller room. They're about the size of this room here. And there's like maybe 30 or 40 people in there. And when Steven walks in a room, he lights it up. And he's always in full regalia and the scarves and the, that's no act. That's what he dresses like.
This is part of his life, right?
Yeah. And he comes in and everybody, boom, goes up to him, Steven, I'm your biggest fan. We Dream On was our wedding song, blah, 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 blah. Same million stories he's heard a million times.
Right.
But this is what Steven Tyler does. And this will tell you all you ever need to know about who Steven Tyler was. And the reason I say he brought this to me, because I saw that and I saw what it meant to people, and I'll do the same thing. And people who have smaller YouTube channels will really appreciate this story. Steven walks in the room, all the A personalities, boom, come, Steven, can you do selfies, autograph, wedding song, biggest fan. And he goes, and he says, hey everyone, I can't wait to meet you all. This is going to be great. I'm going to take care of you. You can sign whatever you want to. Can you give me a couple of minutes? And everybody goes, yes, Steven. Yes. Steven. And what Steven Tyler does is he looks around the room, and in every instance I've ever seen this, he looks around the room, and there's always 2 or 3 people who are scared, stiff, wide, super shy, that their idol just walked in, girls shaking, guys, men, grown men shaking in the corner, super shy. And Steven Tyler walks up to them and he goes, "Hi, how you doing? I'm Steven Tyler."
Wow.
This is the kind of presence that he has, and that he knows. He's been around the game so much,
Right.
But he wants to give those people attention first, because he knows all those people will be there.
Right.
But he wants to make sure that those people don't get left out.
Right.
And I've just seen people shake and cry, and he gives them a hug. Don't cry, darling.
Yeah.
And
I can see it.
It's the greatest thing he's ever done. And so, I see him do this his whole life. And so for me, when, people, because, people are out there like, "Oh, why do you do these small channels and you're wasting your time and so unprofessional," and I laugh, because I think of Steven Tyler, where, not that you guys think of me like that, but what I'm saying is, there's, just because, you don't have 100,000, you have 100,000 subscribers, doesn't mean I shouldn't talk to you. I'm present enough to know I'm not into myself, to say, "Oh, I'm not going to waste my time with those people." Blah 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 blah. It's stupid, and so anyway, that's my 2 Steven Tyler stories.
Well, and it's
I have
about
100 of them, but
and let's face it, it's about people. It's just what you just said. It's not about how many or how important. It's just about people. I mean, and that's the reason that we're talking today, is because, well, we're talking today because of my quiet, good buddy Jeff.
Right.
Because my good buddy Jeff mentioned you, and I was like, okay, that sounds great. I mean,
never heard of him.
I was unfamiliar. However, the name Tallarico was ringing in my head, and I'm like, what the hell's the deal with this name?
Right.
And then I did my research before we talked to you the first time.
Relic
like,
has a
holy
good
shit.
Relic has a good question. He says, "My question to Tommy: if there was one song you could make a video game around, what band and song would it be?"
I know what I got one. Go ahead.
Hit it. No,
Red Barchetta by Rush.
There you go. A game around that. So I'm going to answer this question, and it's going to be somewhat of an exclusive, because I've never talked about this, because we're actually making this game.
It's a thing.
So I'm going to say a whole album, and it's going to go back to this game idea that I had, and we're starting with this album.
Give me a hint. See if I can get it. Will I get it? Could I guess it?
No, it's not rock or anything. It's electronic music, and I had something to do with it. So, but it's BT's electronic opus.
Oh, okay.
And that was an album that me and BT produced together, and we worked with, like there was Armin van Buuren was on there, Tiesto was on there, but it was it was me and BT reimagining in his entire best greatest hits, but with orchestra, and so I did a lot of the I handled a lot of the orchestra type stuff, and so people can go on YouTube and put in electronic opus, and there's a trailer for it, and there's also a documentary, and you'll see me in the documentary as the executive producer, and Emer's in there, my conductor from Video Games Live, and other things. And so you'll see that, and that music, which combines, yes, they do, Retro. And they love our accent. That's the funny thing, is Australian women love American accents, and we love Australian accents.
Yeah.
But and so electronic opus is this melodic, orchestral, electronic, amazing. It's one of my favorite albums I've ever done. and so that music makes for a perfect shooter style interactive where the music is affecting the enemies on screen, the graphics and all this stuff. And I haven't even talked about this on Intellivision yet, but it's a game that we're working on, and we haven't shown anything of it yet because you got to just experience it, kind of thing. And it won't be on launch, but it'll be in 2022. And so we're doing that with this music and with this. It's like an old school shooter meets modern electronics with like 2D and 3D combined. It's really cool.
Sweet.
Lady Ventress, who's Mrs. Relic Gamer.
Yeah.
Hey, you mean you're not the same account? It's a stupid hater joke. Is Video Games Live going to be doing 2021? Yeah, we're doing. We're actually just got reached out last week. We're doing one show in Texas next month, March 27th. So we've been off for a year because of COVID, but Texas called, and Texas is like, we're like the state of Texas. We kick COVID's ass. We're Texas tough. Like COVID's not allowed in Texas. It's
we're too big for that.
We're too big for COVID. We don't deal with COVID. And so we're playing in Lubbock, Texas with the Lubbock Symphony on March 27th. And it's like this one single show that we're doing in 2021. So that's a great question.
Sounds like Jeff and I need to do a road trip.
I was like, I'm going to announce it next week. So
yeah. March 27th,
Lubbock, Texas. Then the next show we have after that isn't until 2022, like the spring of 2022 or March of 2022 or something. But yeah, Lubbock, Texas.
Holy cow. I smell a road trip.
Do it.
I smell a road trip.
Okay, I'll tell you what, flights are cheap.
Yeah, no shit. And my wife's been on one. They're actually really, it's brilliant right now, is my understanding. Oh. Everybody's so cool. Everybody's
this thing sucks though. You got to wear your mask the entire time.
Yeah, that doesn't bother. I have to do that every day at school when I'm working anyway.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. Quincy Jones, Pete. Thank you very much. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see, Video Games Live available at Tubi. Yeah. See that? New Orleans.
Yeah. It's also on Amazon Prime. If you have Amazon Prime, if you go to Amazon, what's it called? Amazon Video or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Prime
Video.
Video
On there as well. Just look up Video Games Live. Yeah,
I will do that. Steven Tyler is the man, says Canadian Gamer. Hi, Canadian
Gamer in the house. Canadian Gamer. He does very fair coverage. He's can be skeptical, and that's totally fine. He does very fair, balanced coverage, and I know, and I'll say this to Canadian Gamer, and he might snicker a little at this. It must be a little difficult for Canadian Gamer to talk about Amico in any kind of fair or positive way because of who he's friends with, who absolutely, I can't even watch his videos because it's just so ranty, and I whatever, I don't even want to go there, but I'm just saying this to Canadian Gamer. It must be funny to him a little bit that one of the guys he follows a lot or hangs out, I don't know if he hangs out with them, I don't know if you're in the same
associated
city.
With.
Yeah, associates or whatever, and who might be online friends with or whatever. But the guy like hates. Oh my! Like he doesn't like us. I'll leave it at that. So it must be tough because this guy must watch Canadian Gamers videos, and I'm sure he's saying behind the scenes, "Are you crazy? Why you get?" So anyway, so hats off, tip of the hat to Canadian Gamer for keeping it real. Even though I'm sure he must get some heat from some of his folks who definitely don't like us. So anyway,
So hats
Hats
off
off.
for taking the heat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Being tough. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. Let me see if I can get to my other questions here. Here's a question for you. This is one that I was thinking about. Have you ever been conflicted as to which takes precedent, music versus video games? Or
No, not really, because
you found a good balance?
I do things that I want to do when I want to do them,
Right.
and
Sure.
so like I wrote video game music for for the better part of 350 games, and do it all. I would work on 20, 30 projects at a time sometimes, and then I started doing the TV show. I'm like, oh, that's cool, but I still did the music.
Yeah.
But my main focus was the TV show, and then my main focus was video games live, and now my main focus is in television. But you're always doing all of this stuff in the industry.
Right.
But I was just talking about this last night. Was like, I did Electric Playground and Reviews on the Run, Judgment Day, the TV shows, for 12 years. Like, we could do a 4-hour stream just about my TV show career, right?
Right.
12 years I did that, 104 episodes a year.
And don't think we're not going to book that.
Okay. And then but then Video Games Live, I started touring in 2005.
Okay.
But I was still doing the TV show till 2007. So I was doing like 104 episodes of TV and touring around the world for 2 years and working on some video game projects.
Right.
And I formed a nonprofit organization all at the same time. This was going on for 2 years. So I'm no stranger to, working 20 hours a day, 7 days a week. But I finally left the TV show because I was then more interested in touring, because I'd done the TV show for 12 years. But that could have easily been switched. If I had done touring for 12 years and then I had a TV show opportunity, I would have left touring to go do TV. So you know what I mean? So I can't really say one or the other. It's just whatever I feel like in that moment and what I want to focus on and make my goal to achieve and to win,
Yeah. Oh, well, I have to, I guess, that this is not in a way of sucking up, but I'm just saying, I commend you for the balance and the success that you had in each of these things that you do.
And the funny thing, Stu, is that whenever I've done something in my career, like I did the very first video game album that was distributed worldwide by a major record label, Capitol Records, right? Yeah. And then I do, and everybody said I'm crazy. They're like, dude, nobody wants to listen to video game music. Like who the hell is going to buy an album of video game music? And you're crazy and you're stupid and you're going to fail. And then that was a big success. And then, of course, now video game albums are commonplace. And people have won Grammy Awards for them and all that. And then I did the TV show in the mid-90s. I started that show with Victor Lucas. And everyone's like, who the hell wants to watch people play video games and talk about video games? Right. Again, this is pre-Twitch, pre-YouTube, right?
Gotcha.
And you guys are stupid. Nobody's going to watch a TV show about video games. You're going to fail. You're an idiot. Fail, fail, fail. Stupid, stupid, stupid. No one's going to come to your stupid shit. And anyway, shows on for many years. We won Emmy Award, Telly Award, blah, 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 best news cable programs, blah, 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 blah. All of a sudden, big hit, 25 years later, winning awards. Then I said, well, you know what? I'm going to do a video game concert with symphonies, and I'm going to have families come out to the symphony, young people, old people getting together. Now they're like, now, Tallarico, you finally lost your mind. Families don't go to symphonies together. You're an idiot. The people who play video games don't go to a symphony. And the people who do go to a symphony don't play video games. You're an idiot. You're a moron. No one's going to show up to your thing. Families, you don't know anything about families. You don't have kids. Fail, fail, fail. You're a dork.
Now, let me ask you a quick question.
Yeah.
How many people was that? And were those people really close to you?
Just like people online or people writing articles, people on message boards, whatever. Bulletin boards. And so I'm an idiot. Fail, fail, fail. Well, we've played to over 2 million people live. We hold 3 Guinness World Records, and we've major sponsors, blah, 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 huge success, whatever.
Yeah.
So now been succeeding for 32 years. Oh, and by the way, the other thing I forgot to mention about all of those things. Tommy, you've never done an album before. So you're an idiot. You only do, video game. So you do video game music. You don't produce albums. Oh, and then that's a hit. And then they go, Tommy, you've never done a TV show before. You can't just do a TV show. Like, you're an idiot. You've never done a TV show before. Why do you think you could do a TV show? And then concert, video games live. You've never done a live concert before. Like, how are you right? And so now, does any of this that you're hearing over the 32 years, does any of this sound familiar at all? Tommy, you want to do a video game console? You've never done a video game console before. You can't do that. Families. You're not going to do that. What do you know about families? You can't do this. You're stupid. You're going to fail. Nobody's going to buy this. So it's like, so all I got to say is, to folks who think I'm going to fail, that's okay. You picked the wrong person, though, to want to fail, because I will not. And that's just facts. So there you go. If you want to bet against me, be my guest, but you're going to lose. And there you go. And I don't mean to come across as arrogant. Right. I want that to be because I'm confident. And there's sometimes a fine line between confidence and arrogance, right? Sometimes you venture into each of those realms, but for me, I'm 100% confident in my ability. I'm not going to lose. It's going to be a success, and you can take it to the bank. Right. And that's my career. And if anyone says, oh, but I've never done this before, go back, go read my bio and STFU.
Now, let me ask you a question. What do you feel about the word, especially in your business, the things that you have done? What do you think about the word luck?
I hate it. I hate that word. You've probably heard me say this before. I hate, there's no such thing in luck in my mind. Okay. Nope. Now, you can create opportunities for yourself, right? Because some people might say to me, Tommy, the way you got discovered was complete luck, because you were in a music store and you were wearing your video game t-shirt, and the person happened to walk in on the day you were wearing your t-shirt. That was so lucky, your luck. And it's insulting to me.
It is.
Because you know what wasn't luck? What wasn't luck is that I left my parents crying on a doorstep, leaving my house, everything I knew in my life, with no money, no job, no place to stay, no friends in California. I got in my 2-seater car, drove out west with $500 and crying myself to sleep every single night, sleeping in my car because I couldn't afford a hotel room for 3 weeks, homeless on the beach, in sleeping under the pier at Huntington Beach for 3 weeks, not knowing anyone. And I'm the oldest son, big Italian family, very close family, blah, blah, blah. I didn't have a cell phone back then. I had to put quarters in a thing and crying, like, because I missed my family and all this stuff. Right. And then I pick up a newspaper the first day I'm in California, because I'm not a lazy person. Right. And I went there and I walked in, and I I said, can I speak to the manager of Guitar Center? And they said, yeah, is there a problem, sir? I said, yes, I need to speak to the manager. Oh, okay, we'll get you right in there. And he goes, yes, yes, sir, is there a problem? Yeah, I got a problem. I need this job and you need to hire me. That's the problem. And I need to amend this right now. And the guy's kind of like laughing. And I said, look, I will sell anything in this store for you, whatever it is. And I started picking up stuff on his desk. See this guitar pick? I'll pick that. See this amp? I'll do whatever you need. Boom, boom, boom. I'll go out there and I'll sell it right now. I said, look, you're wasting your time by you have this ad. You're wasting your money. Stop the ad right now because you found your person. And you know how much time you're going to waste interviewing people? Like forget. And the guy's like laughing because he's like, this guy, he's like, and if I remember, he looks at me, he goes, you're not from around here, are you? Because, you know, California is a very laid back surfer dude, especially Orange County. Right. Yeah. And he's like, you're not from around here. He's like, you're from the East Coast, aren't you? I'm like, yes, I am. He's like, you know, how long you been in California? And I like, about 18 hours. And he's like, are you kidding me? Right? No. And he made me, I had to fill out a thing to work there. And he's like, okay, you know what? You're hilarious. You got the job. You start tomorrow. And so, and then on that next day, that's when I wore my TurboGrafx 16 shirt. Yeah. And the guy who worked for Richard Branson comes in, sees my shirt, hires me at Virgin. I'm in California 3 days and I'm in the video game industry. And so people say, oh, but you got lucky. No, really? No. It was luck that I cried myself to sleep, that I left my parents, that I suffered, that I ate peanut butter and jelly for 3 weeks, that I slept under a beach, that I had the balls to do all that and pick up that newspaper the day one and barge into the guy's office and throw the paper down there and convince him with my sparkling charisma to hire me on the spot, to get up the next morning and work that job. That's luck. Kiss my ass.
Exactly.
To do with luck, right?
Thank you.
Anyway, that's my rant on luck.
You know, I'm.
Johnny UPS says the poor music manager had to hire somebody else like a few days later. No, I'll tell you why not. Because again, this is the drive, is that like back then you didn't have the internet. There was no such thing as the internet. Right. So when I got there, it's the late 80s, early 90s.
I was going to say, what year was that?
I think it was just turning 1990. Okay. And so so the only way to know what the rent in California was to like ask somebody who was living there or pick up a newspaper there. Well, I had neither on my way, right? I didn't know anyone there. Right. So I get there, and the first day, again, homeless, I pick up this newspaper to get a job. And I see like the thing. So now I'm start calculating out. I'm like, holy crap. Okay. It was like $500 a month for rent. And exactly, Dale, fate. Some call it luck. I call it fate. And so
I call it tenacity.
Yeah. And the thing is that, you know, sorry, I'm getting, I get a little,
that's okay, man.
I get a little emotional about it, but
as you should.
So I lost my train of thought. We
were talking about how they didn't have to hire somebody.
Yeah. So what I did is because I was homeless and I didn't, and so I had worked out that I had to make $10 an hour in order to stay in California. Okay. And this was my dream. Was to stay in California. Yeah. So Guitar Center was paying me $4 an hour. And at Virgin, they were paying me $6 an hour to play video games. And so when you don't have a home and you don't have friends there and you don't have family there, right? You don't have a place to go. You don't have a TV. You don't have anything except your car.
You want to stay busy.
So what I did was I worked 2 40-hour jobs, and I said, well, if I can combine these together, that gives me $10 an hour. So I worked, and I didn't have a place to stay. So I didn't want to leave. Like
Yeah.
I needed a place to go because I would just sleep under the pier at the beach, and
Right.
it was kind of scary. And the cops would kick me out every once in a while, and I'd sleep in my car, and it was uncomfortable. And so I stayed at the Guitar Center for 6 months, and then when I proved myself as a music composer, and the first project I worked on was Prince of Persia with Jordan Mechner, the original.
Wow. Wow.
And it won awards and accolades and all this stuff. So they're like, okay, I think we're going to make you the full-time music guy now, because they didn't have a music person at all,
Wow.
and because the company was really small. There was like 10 people when I started there. Like they were just starting out, and so they're like, okay, I think we should make you the music guy now. And they're like, but you have to quit that other job, because everybody knew what I was doing, and they kind of felt sorry for me, I think,
Oh, okay.
And they said, look, we're going to pay you $12 an hour. And so you can quit that other job. And to me, I'm making $12 an hour, $24,000 a year to
1990.
write music in 1990, which was, to me, I was like, I could do this for the rest of my life. I'm the happiest
Amen.
man on earth.
Right.
Like it wasn't about the money for me. It was just, can I survive and be happy?
Right.
And I would have done it for free. Don't say that to anyone. But so that's a great question though, because I stayed in that job for 6 more months.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's, oh, wow. I mean, I had no idea you were going to give me that.
And so
history.
again, people who think that I'm going to fail within television, I feel bad for you, because you just don't know who I am.
I feel good about being one of the people that do believe in it and have believed in it.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, I feel like I'm on the right page already. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's where I should be. So you answered one of my questions. I was going to ask you if you have any releases. How do you like to compose when you start something new? When you start a new project, where do you begin?
I just watch the game, and I just wait for stuff to come in my head, come to me, and then I figure it out what's in my head on a piano or a guitar.
That's pretty cool.
It's literally that simple, because I don't read music.
Right.
I mean, I can, but I don't, not sight read or anything. I understand it, but I don't. I hire people to orchestrate and that stuff for me,
Right.
who are a lot smarter and better than me at that stuff, because that's a specific art.
Well, and why not? Why reinvent the wheel? If you can explain to them what you need and they can
Right.
get that done like that, then better to you. That's
So yeah,
project.
that's how I do it. I just sit around and wait for things to come to me.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, I'm getting far behind here. I have a good friend who's involved with the symphony in Portland, Oregon, retired, and she was able to take her
we
kids
played
to see
there.
me.
Oh yeah, and she was able to take her kids to see video
Yeah.
games live. Yeah, and she loved it. That's cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. We played the Arlene Schneitzer Symphony Hall. It's called. It's funny because I'm not good with people's names, but I remember every venue we've played.
Oh, well, yeah. And I was really, when this all started with Jeff and with, talking to you and stuff, I was really, there was a part of me, there's a little sad part when Jeff's like, yeah, I saw you at the Fox. I'm like, oh, why didn't I see you at the Fox?
Yeah.
I was like, I really wish I would have seen you guys, and I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I suppose probably at the time, I don't know. I was raising a family. I had kids. I was doing a few different things, but
Yeah.
What are some of the most satisfying moments you've experienced through music? We've talked about a lot of things.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I think that's it. Yeah. I mean, I think we've gone over it. I mean, almost passing out on stage because the adrenaline rush.
I couldn't even
better than
imagine.
that.
I can't imagine. I'm looking forward to that. Let me go to, and why don't we wrap up for tonight? Because we've been on it. You need to get going and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yeah, I
And
got to eat something. I haven't eaten all day. It's
yeah,
6:30.
and it's been a great day. So I want to let you enjoy that. One last lightning round question.
Sure.
Favorite music movies? Whether it be, let's say, a documentary. Is there something
Well,
or
I was going to say Spinal Tap.
a good?
That
Now,
counts, right?
I'm going to send you a link later
Yeah.
about the Thomas Dolby. There's an article that was
I'm
written
good
about.
friends with Thomas Dolby. Known him.
Are you? I would
Oh,
love
I've
to
known
meet
him
him.
30 years. In fact, we used to be in business together. We had a
Oh,
company together selling ringtones back in like 1990, probably 93 or 94. Like
yeah,
when cell phones first started.
yeah,
Because as you know, Thomas is into the technology stuff.
yes,
And so we had met because he had done music for a video game, and we met at the game developers conference and became instant friends. We had a mutual friend, and we really hit it off, and we ended up going into business together, like in the probably, I think that might have been the mid 90s or something, and we were selling
wow,
ringtones for like before anyone was like doing that. We
yeah.
were doing that. Yeah.
Well, I just got
Thomas
this
is great.
recently, and
What's that now? Oh, I haven't read that.
yeah, I'm looking forward to. I'll be getting into some of that stuff on this channel,
Right.
on this show. I'll be getting into a lot of that. I just
Cool.
got Aliens Ate My Buick, which is a brilliant record.
Huh.
It's a
Yeah.
fantastic
Well, I
record. A
mean,
friend of mine
yeah.
is getting ready to move out of his house, and he's like getting rid of everything. And I went through his CD collection, and I go, "You got some Thomas Dolby?" He goes, "Yeah, it's a great record." I'm like, "Awesome." Listened
Yeah.
to it 3 times in my car as soon as I got to it. I loved it, just time after time after time. 3 times. I love it. It's a great record. Well, I'll have to talk to you about him, and
Yeah.
I'd love to have him on the show. That's for sure. He's just a great composer, great, you know, smart dude, clever dude.
Smart guy.
Clever
Him
dude.
and BT are like just mathematical musical geniuses.
Right.
BT even more so because he literally like hand codes and hand programs. And if people are familiar with the stutter edit program where it's like
Yeah.
like that's BT. He wrote that. That's his code. That's his. The
Wow.
guy's a genius.
Well, I'll have to check out some of that stuff.
Yeah.
One of the bands that I wanted to mention from days gone by is Kraftwerk, of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll have to, but I'm going to write down BT to check that stuff out as well.
Yeah.
Well,
Electronic opus. You'll be blown away.
do I leave you with one more Van Halen question?
Okay.
In what Van Halen song did Eddie Van Halen use a hair dryer blown across slackened strings by a depressed whammy bar?
A hair dryer
A hair
or you mean
dryer.
a drill?
No.
The drill is
Yeah. Yeah. Who else
on
did
pound
that?
cake.
Yeah, that's Pound Cake. But on
Okay.
what song did he use a hair dryer blown across the slackened strings because of the whammy bar? I only say all that other stuff because other people besides you don't know what that means.
Yeah.
It's a big song. It was a hit. You mentioned the album earlier.
They all were.
They all were.
I'm going to give you a couple Eddie questions, by the way.
Please.
Yeah.
And if you want, we can save those for we can do a part 2.
I'm going to give you one.
Okay.
God, I don't know, but I'm trying to think of the
You
song
give me
that
your
it could be.
you give me your question while I'm thinking about it. You can think about the answer.
Okay, my question to you is which Van Halen song used a because everyone thinks it's a guitar, but it's not. What Van Halen song it was, and it was I'll even give you a hint, David Lee Roth era.
Okay, and that's mine too.
Okay. What Van Halen song did Eddie use a electric piano run through his amp and distortion at 50 hertz? And the and the
And just to kick your ass a little more.
no, just to give you a little, just to give you another little hint.
Yeah.
In the song, which everyone thinks is guitar, and it's not. It's the piano, and it's a Rhodes piano, a Rhodes electric piano, run through distortion, run through his guitar rig. But in the song, there are a couple of notes where you hear the real Rhodes piano as well. Right before David Lee Roth gives one of his most epic Van Halen talking lines of all time.
Okay, then it's got to be
Not Panama.
no. But that's your answer.
Oh, was it Panama?
Yeah.
Oh, I knew that.
Yeah, right in the middle it goes. That's him doing the.
I thought that was oh shit! I didn't know that. I thought that was just like a car sound or something.
It's in the video. He's got a hairdryer in the video.
Holy crap! That's right. Now that oh my god, I just put two and two together after 40 years.
There you go.
Or 30 years, 35 years.
That's how I show my love. That's how I show my love.
Holy crap! That's awesome. Okay, now when I tell you my answer, you're gonna go listen to this song again and go, son of a gun, I thought that was a guitar.
And I appreciate you doing this to me. I'm going to have to say, hold on. Is it Women and Children First on that album? Or is it from Fair Warning?
Oh God. Oh geez. I always mix those two damn ones up. Son of a that's the thing that sucks about digital music these days.
There's Everybody Wants Some.
Not that.
And there's Unchained.
Yeah.
No, wait. Shit.
Here, I'm getting the album for you because I don't.
I think it's from Fair Warning.
No, it's Women and Children First. It was 1980.
It was on Women and Children First.
Yeah, it's Women and Children First.
Okay, well at least I hit the album right. And he had a talking part in it. Everybody Wants Some.
David Lee Roth. Yeah.
Is it Everybody Wants Some?
No. Are you ready? Here's the talking part, and the piano comes right before it, but I want you to listen to it because the whole thing is a Rhodes distorted throughout the whole song. Now, he does play a guitar solo in it.
Sure.
But everybody thinks the lead is a guitar, and it's not. So,
wait a minute.
Here's the famous David Lee Roth line.
So before you do that, then this song would actually be good for all those guys in the skating rink that always play guitar when the keyboards are playing.
Go
ahead.
So the line is, and you'll get the song after that. The famous line is, "Have you seen Junior's grades?"
Well, yeah.
So what song's that from?
Yeah, it's Cradle Will Rock.
Thank you. Right. And so right before that,
that's what
it goes. You hear the real Rhodes piano, which goes do 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 do.
Yeah.
It goes do 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 do.
Yeah.
Have you seen Junior's grades? But that whole that's all. That whole thing is a Rhodes piano that he played on piano through a distorted, and everybody always thinks it's a guitar. Now, once you go and hear it now, once you go and listen to it right now, you can tell in a second, you'll be like, holy crap, it's a Rhodes piano through. Oh my God. I didn't think, because you just think it's a weird, different guitar sound. So there's my gift to you. And I'm going to go listen to Panama now.
You listen to Panama. I'll listen to Cradle Will Rock. Yeah, no, and you've given me a brilliant idea for a short too, because it happened to me in Memphis when we went to Sun Studios, which
I love Sun Studios.
Yeah, before we went down there, my wife had booked the tour of Graceland and all that stuff. And she
Yeah.
goes, "Now, honey, you do realize this is a glorified beer run
Ah,
because we're big fans of Yingling and out of Pennsylvania, and we
okay.
can't get it here. We have to go down south to get it. Now, it's my
Right.
understanding they're coupling with Coors, and we're going to be able to get it, but I don't know. That's always been rumors, whatever. But we go down to Memphis. She goes, this is a glorified beer run, so we can get a bunch of Yingling.
That's funny.
So we head down there. We go to the Sun Studios. We walk around. We do the tour. Great
Beale
tour. We had so
Street,
much fun. So
Beale
much
Street.
history
Yeah.
and so much stuff that is still there. That was the original
I mean,
stuff.
they have the piano that Jerry Lee Lewis wrote "Great Balls of Fire" on. They have
Yes.
and U2, of course, recorded in Sun as well. And
Yes.
but the room is there, and this is the room where Elvis Presley
He
became
stood
Elvis
right over
Presley.
there.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And that's where Johnny Cash sat with, where the three of them got together.
No, four of them. It was
Four.
Johnny
Right.
Cash, Elvis Presley, Jerry Lee Lewis, and Blue Suede Shoes guy. They call it the $1 Million Quartet.
You're correct. And they have all those recorded, all that stuff.
Oh, it's a great album.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was actually I flew out to New York because they actually had $1 Million Quartet. They did a musical.
Yeah.
Oh God, what the hell? God, I suck with names. I'm telling you, I'm Googling it because it's pissing me off.
I know. You're going to say it, and I'm going to go, damn it.
I know, right? Carl Perkins.
Carl Perkins.
Carl Perkins.
Right.
I knew it was the Blue Suede Shoe guy.
Right, exactly. So we go down there, we do the tour, it's great, and then we go we had looked in the store before we went in, we bought our tickets. There was even something about when I bought my tickets at the front door that was so much fun. I don't remember. She was real sweet, real cute gal. I was just talking, we were just having fun, and we get into the tour, we do that, we come out, we'd already picked out what t-shirts we wanted to buy. They had a special. So I get these t-shirts, right? And I get up to the counter. Well, before I get to the counter, I say something about the song they're playing. They're playing they're playing were they playing You're No Good? No, they weren't playing You're No Good. I think they were playing Fame. And I said, "Well, you know who was in that song, right?" Well, the guy I said it to one of the women behind the counter. They thought the one gentleman thought I was asking about, can I get taken care of? And he goes, "I'll be done with them in just a second." And she looks at him and goes, "No, he was asking us a question about the song." And he goes, "Oh," and he goes, "What is it?" And I was like, "Who did background vocals on that song with David Bowie?" And he's like, "Oh," they're like, "I don't know." And I'm like, "Well, it's John Lennon."
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and on Fame. And then of course, Whatever Gets You Through the Night, who played piano on that? Elton John. Elton John said, "I'll tell you what, if this song, Whatever Gets You Through the Night, goes number one, you promised," because he hadn't played out. John Lennon hadn't been touring. And he said, "I'll tell you what, if this song goes number one, you come out and you sing it with me on stage." And he did. Yeah. That's what got one of the things that got John Lennon back out on stage. But I said, "Who did backgrounds?" I said, "Okay, well, this is fun. Who did backgrounds for You're No Good? You should tell your DJ to play it." And they did. And he starts playing it. They go, "I don't know." And I'm like, "Just listen." And they couldn't get it. I go, "It's Mick Jagger." And they're like, "What?" And you can totally hear it as soon as I said it. I was like, "There it is." And they go, "Oh, I can hear it." I'm like, "I know." So I get to the counter. I get up there. It's my turn. They go, "You know what? No charge." I'm like, "What? I got like $60 worth of t-shirts here." And they're like, "It's okay." I go, "Let me give you $20 or something." They go, "Nope. We've had a great time having you here. Thanks for all the trivia. And that was great. We really enjoyed it."
Cool.
We walked out, had a great day like you did today. And you're going to have a great evening. You go enjoy your evening, enjoy your dinner. thank you for the time, brother. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you for everyone in the chat for hanging out too. It's a good time.
Everybody
Thanks
here
for all the great questions.
for the debut of Hammer Away. I couldn't have asked for anything better. I really, really appreciate it.
Awesome, man.
So you have a great evening. We'll do a part 2. I'll get my other questions together and we'll do some more Van Halen trivia. I'll meet up with you maybe a couple of weeks. We'll get together.
All right, go
In the
listen to
meantime, we'll be
Incredible
talking Thomas Dolby.
Awesome. See you later, man. Thank
See
you.
you.
Stu.
Thanks.
Bye.